Hey everybody, welcome to the show. I'm Gary Palmer Jr.eth, you're you, and together we are minting coins. There is a lot to talk about today, talking about the ENS DAO EP2.2.5. It's the Endowment Fund Manager selection. We're talking about selecting the fund manager for the ENS DAO. And we might be talking about this on the same day that we're talking about the potential Genesis bankruptcy for their fund, potential digital currency group Meltdown. I have 184 and Thread Girl already on the line, ready to discuss. How you guys doing?
Hey Gary, hey 184, how are you guys? So happy to be here, ready to discuss everything.
Hey, doing good. Hope you guys are too.
Very good. Welcome. Let's see here. We have Nifty Vicious as well. I'm not exactly sure who Nifty Vicious is, but they will say hello in a second. Yeah, and in the meantime, hey everyone, thanks for showing up. Thanks for hanging out with us. Let's see here. I just want to say, if you're new to the channel, subscribe and like this video. Like this video, it really helps. The content really helps the engagement. And follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/Gary Palmer Jr., twitter.com/minting coins. And visit our website, mintingcoins.com. Become a member and get access to our members only area, members only chat room, members only call, members only videos, and help support Web3 creators creating Web3 content, and help support us hanging out with you and talking about all of this interesting stuff. So yeah, let's go around real quick. Just do a real quick round of introductions for the folks we have starting off with us. And if you just want to say, what is your name and who you are, and then we'll get into chit chat about different stuff. 184, you want to go first?
Yeah. Hi everybody, I'm 184.eth. I got into crypto sometime in 2017. It was also about the time I got into ENS, and over the years been involved in a bit of buying, selling, trading, focusing on ENS, and I love all things Web3, love decentralization. That's why I'm here.
Cool. And Thread Girl?
Hey everyone, I'm threadgirl.eth. I got into crypto when banks screwed us in where I live, and I got into ENS because it's what made most sense to me, and happy to be here to chat with you.
Cool. And we have Karma the Game.
Hey, how you doing, guys? Karma the Game, also karmathegame.eth and alchemist.eth, and I got an invite from Novax, my friend, and happy to be here and see what you guys are into and what's going on. Karma the Game is an adult platform that bridges Web 2.0 and Web 3.0 for social networking through gamification. And happy to share any info if anybody's curious, but otherwise I'm here to listen and see what everybody's into.
Very cool. And I'm having a little bit of video problems here, so I'm trying to get that up and running. But then also we have another known ENS delegate on a call, Corey.eth. Hey Corey, how you doing?
Hey, what's up, guys? Yeah, I'm Corey. I'm an entrepreneur / engineer. I've been following crypto since at least 2013. So this is like my third bear market. They start to feel familiar. ENS is awesome. I love ENS. I tweet about it a lot. I do like tech consulting now, smart contracts sometimes, and I write a lot on the internet, a lot of tweets, and I'm also putting together some long form stuff in the background.
And how many, we can check, but do you know like roughly how many delegates you have in the ENS DAO?
I have like 82,000 now. I had some more, but I think I had a big delegate who sold off when the price recovered. So I probably have more of a. I had like too many for a little bit there, a little bit more than I needed. Now I feel more comfortable. Like I'm down a couple.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's
I like
good to have
swung
votes.
the Brantley vote, so I was like, that's like, Anyway, that was a lot of responsibility. Now I have a little less responsibility. But now I can go do some political campaigning again to go get more delegates.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like with the whole delegate situation, you know, that when you're near 80,000 delegates, that 100,000 delegate mark is really sweet to be able to put in the proposals.
Is that the threshold for submitting a proposal?
Correct.
Yeah. Now I'm below that.
Yeah. You were above it. You were above it.
It's okay. I think that I think everyone is kind of slowly tapered off a little. I noticed, and it's probably for the best. It helps. Like people will stay. People will redelegate to people who are involved, I guess.
That's hopefully the idea. Yeah, the delegates are very powerful folks. You know, with the votes that they have and what they could do. And yeah, you know, it's like delegation is very interesting, right? Because you know the DAO is tens of thousands of people. But
I mean, I was so surprised when I got that many delegates originally because I was just tweeting, literally. I mean, I didn't even like. You can Google my name, Corey.eth, and you'll find who I am. But I don't even talk about like my last name or doxing on Twitter. So I didn't. So it's just interesting. But I think it was the NFT people. And I had a cool cat and profile picture at the time. I had some DMs that were like, I delegated you because you were a cool cat. I'm like, thank you. That's really meaningful.
I mean, there's worse ways of choosing a delegate, I suppose.
I do my best. We all do our best. Thanks for the intro. I'm Corey.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, we also have Spence. He's in the green room, but it looks like he's having connectivity issues. I'm not sure if he's listening in somewhere, but I'm not sure if he needs to disconnect and reconnect. It'd be cool to get him on the line. Let's see here. And Novax. Hey, what's up, Novax? How you doing? Who are you? And what's your name? And who are you? Hey.
I'm Novax and I'm minting coins. Hi, Gary. Hey, I'm just having a little fun. I was just working on a little track, a little island vibe kind of a thing, and we'll see where it goes. But I wanted to chorus to really invite people in, so I'm kind of simple words, short phrases, try to keep it in a register where everyone can reach it. And so that's me. I'm Novax. I like to play the guitar. I like to talk ENS NFTs. You can find me on Twitter N0VAX Novax, or just No for short. Novax NFT is my handle there. And obviously, you know, like Gary, I'm in so much stuff. It doesn't make sense to list it all. But right now I'm working on the 100K cat and having a lot of fun with that PFP project. And I see some people here who I know and love. And I have some friends who are going to be rolling in too as well. Hello. So we're going to have a good old night tonight. It's going to be a good one.
There's no shortage of stuff to talk about. But you know, real quick before we get into it, it's cool to see threadgirl.eth. I've been seeing this other lady on I was gonna say chick. This other chick on Twitter. Her name is Threadgirl. I think she took off the .eth. So it's good to see the .eth over here.
Wait. So a lot of people have been getting banned and suspended, and a lot of people from the ENS community. I don't know why. Like I've seen a lot of tweets about people saying like connecting this to that, because if you go to Gary Palmer Jr.eth, you're gonna find over 20 accounts impersonating you, and I think this is
Wait,
strictly.
really? There are?
Yeah. It's happening to every .eth person, and I think this is the reason we're getting suspended. By the way, I am suspended for 12 hours, okay? Can't tweet, retweet, comment, or like anything for 12 hours. But yeah, that's why
Oh
I
my
removed
goodness.
a
I had
lot
no
of.
idea people were I didn't think I was cool enough for that to happen to me. Whoa. That sucks.
Minting
Yeah.
bots.
Bullish on ENS domains and .eth. We'll have it
Yeah,
back.
look at all these people.
We'll have it back up soon.
Oh my goodness. I'm glad I got the check mark, I guess. Yeah, wow, that's crazy. Cool. Let's see here. So that's good to know. And yeah, a lot of imposters out there. Definitely a lot of concerns, and it's going to get worse. You know, can you imagine when the bull market comes back, the amount of imposters is going to be, I think it's going to be pretty significant. Hopefully Elon Musk is able to do something about the bots and do something about the imposters. And I just saw today that the blue check is getting delayed yet again. So that's unfortunate.
Gary, he doesn't need to do anything. Just sign in with Ethereum. He'll get rid of all the bots, get rid of all the people impersonating us, and make things better. I don't know why he's
There's
not
only one
doing
Gary
that.
Palmer Jr.eth.
Yeah, like the verification doesn't solve this. It amplified the problem even more, you know? But
Yeah. You're really
see,
right. It would take care of such a huge problem. I mean, if there was the paying of the blue check, right, to get like a payment, even to get a payment verification, but to have the authentication with
Do
the
you guys
Web3
know
wallet.
about? Sorry to interrupt you,
Yeah.
but you guys know about DSO?
I don't.
Because
No, what's DSO?
DSO has a Twitter alt, and it's all Web 3.0, and it's called Diamond. And what's weird is that you can't put a .eth address in your name. It doesn't allow it. Maybe they need to get with the program. But other than that, I mean, it's everything you're talking about, because it's validated through the blockchain, and you can't really create the imposters. I mean, it's just an imposter name. It's not the exact same name, but still, actually, it's a really
Well,
it's a
these
great
sites
boon.
they just need to get with the sign in with Ethereum, and they sign with Ethereum, login.xyz. It's like a standard of how to connect your website, to the wallet, and not just wallet connect, but it's also authentication, which is a big deal. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. Two-factor authentication is a multi-billion-dollar enterprise level industry. And yeah, that authentication with the wallet, it's just a couple lines of code, and then your ENS name. If someone has an ENS name set, the ENS name is automatically their wallet. And yeah, it's so easy. It's so easy. It's just a learning. It's just those developers learning about signing with Ethereum. So yeah, if you know who they are, let them know. Signing with Ethereum. Great
man,
to get that
totally.
solution.
And I personally didn't get the verification check mark because I felt like everyone is gonna get it now, right? And it's exactly what happened. But I would totally pay $8 to have my name only for myself. I don't care about the blue tick, but if me paying $8 guarantees me
Yeah,
that
but you
this
need to
name.
distinguish the .eth name from a normal name, because like right now my Twitter name, I have Gary Palmer Jr.eth, right? And what's the difference between some random person putting Gary Palmer Jr.eth in their name and somebody like me that owns the name and has it verified with signing with Ethereum? The UX and the UI, they will have to distinguish that somehow.
Yeah, I mean, I saw someone on the timeline making a Photoshop out of it, making it blue, like make the name blue or whatever, right? And even if they didn't do that, like don't accept anyone to have a .eth in their name unless it's verified, like um, or make a distinction like the hexagon for the PFPs, you know, make it blue, make whatever next to it. Like that's easy to handle. But would I pay $8 for a blue tick? No. Would I pay $8 to have my digital identity verified? Yes, I would do that.
Yeah, I think from a business perspective, there's something different that different people would pay $8 for. Like some people would pay $8 for the ENS verification. Some people would pay $8 to have the hexagon PFP. Some people would pay $8 to be able to, delay edit their tweets. And so, there's a lot of different right reasons. And yeah, the naming. Oh, I got like a reverb from somebody. I'm not sure if that's me.
Try and mute up, guys. If you're not talking right now, just mute up your mic so we don't get a loop.
Hello. There we go. Yeah. So, and I just think that once people get a taste of the ENS names, they're sort of not going to go back, right? Once someone gets a taste of owning their name and automatically having that name in the next website they log into, they're going to go, wow, how'd that work? Oh, I don't have to redo that. Oh, it just automatically works. Once people experience that, because most people haven't experienced that yet, even inside crypto, I think people are going to be sort of shocked at the magic of them owning their own name.
So
Hey,
what?
I just want to introduce a couple people, if it's all right.
Yeah. We met Karma the Game a little bit earlier.
Okay, cool.
He said that you're someone he knows.
Yeah, man, we've been hanging out, and it's just great to get to know like just what Karma the Game is doing for basically like the ideation and then the actual first implementation of 3D representation of a clock for 24-hour club is really special. And his ability to project manage and coordinate the data structure of all of it is really going to be, I think, hugely advantageous to us. But I mean, in addition to that, just Karma the Game is cool. And he's a homie within a kind of community of multi-metaverse explorers. And I wanted to make sure it's actually very cool that Tech Mental is here, because I've been trying to get the two of these guys together. I don't know if they're aware of each other, but Tech Mental is an OG, like OOG AR VR kind of a dude, and likewise is Karma the Game. So Karma was like in the 90s building the first motorcycle ride, VR motorcycle ride, and Tech Mental was at the time, registering his techmental.com, which is over 20-year-old, DNS registration, and he's been following and tracking at that site like all this AR stuff. You know what I mean? So these are just kind of like two guys who I wanted to make sure had a chance to connect up, and the fact that you're both here is perfect opportunity to introduce you. So welcome, Tech Mental, man. How you doing?
Doing okay. Thanks for throwing me into the fire. Got to catch up with a couple of the videos I saw on YouTube, and the conversations were great. I love the reactions, the whole flow of it. So it was pretty dope, and I didn't know this was what it was gonna be. So pretty cool. All recognize all the faces and handles here, all the usual suspects. So yeah, thanks.
Fire. Yeah, likewise. And thanks for the intro, Novax. I really appreciate that. Again, as I said before, happy to be here and see what everybody's about, and what you guys are doing is really fire. I love the community. For me, it's just, what it's all about. Karma's all designed for its gamified, classified advertising is all meant to develop community, even without the barriers of Web 3.0. And wallets and stuff. We created our own proprietary wallet and token system that you don't need blockchain for, and then you can graduate to blockchain later if you decide to do that. So it's just really great to see the push towards a decentralized reality. I just try to take it with a grain of salt, at all levels. That's for sure.
Cool. Excellent. Well, you know, I'm not sure if you're using ENS yet, or if you're using signing with Ethereum yet, or if you're using CCIP, cross-chain interoperability protocol yet. But
Yeah,
you
not
know,
on the platform. For myself, I have
yeah.
the
Well, on the
ENS.
platform, yeah. I mean, just take a look at that, because that could be, you know, definitely really interesting. A lot of interesting things happening in the world of ENS. And I know you have an ENS yourself, you said.
Yes, yeah, I have it myself. You know, the graduation so is going to be a button in our wallet that allows people to switch to their own wallet. And part of the reason for that is basically what we do is encapsulate people's memory on the platform. And for every 30 days you play, you give me a token, and I give you your 30 days back with your memories on it when you terminate your avatar. And our avatars are mortal, but our wallet persists. So you know, it's really on one side it's, you know, it's an evolution of helping people get into the system, but on the second part of that, it's really at the core is designed to help people privatize their information and own their information and their lives on the internet. You know, by not keeping it on a central database. It's just while you're there using the functions, we'll store it. We'll be the machine for it, the engine. And then when you terminate and you finish what you came here to do, kind of thing, then we give you back everything that you did while you were on the platform. And then we're going to build a DAO exchange so people can trade or sell their memories or monetize their memories in whichever way they choose.
Cool, man. Well, I mean, you know, I'm super big into ENS, and whatever the app is, I believe that ENS can be integrated one way or another to be that naming layer of that. But that definitely, you know, sounds interesting. Maybe, you know, maybe if we have time in, you know, the back end of the show, we can, you know, pull it up and take a peek at that.
Yeah,
But
I'd be open to hearing, you know, how you think it'd be ideally integrated, because there's a couple of different paths, you know, and as we're evolving, ENS obviously is a, you know, a next level of evolution for the decentralized platforms, and I'm really excited by it because it makes all the sense in the world to, you know, tie a name into your wallet so that it's, you know, it's easy to find, easy to, you know, deal and exchange. But I know that there are other benefits as well. Yeah, this is cool.
yeah, absolutely. So the first big thing I wanted to talk about today, and I think Corey's been paying attention to this a little bit. I'm not sure who else. But in the ENS DAO, we have this social, you know, EP 2.2.5. It's a selection of an ENS Endowment Fund Manager, right? And so, following the EP 2.2.4, which was the sort of the, what do you call it, the you know, empowerment to look for a fund manager. This is a result of their work of looking for a fund manager, and they brought 4 potential fund managers to submit proposals to the meta governance working group within the ENS DAO. And the proposals would be to manage the endowment, right, for the ENS DAO. And you know, the 4, I'm not sure if I can pronounce these correctly, if you guys know the right way to say these, but we have Avant-Garde, Karpatki, Llama, and number 4, we have none of the above. And there's like a lot of different nuance about each of these, right? Because they each want to begin with a different size. They each charge a different performance fee. They each work a little bit differently. Oops. They each work a little bit differently in terms of what they do and how they're going to do it. And let's see, so this is the proposal here, right? Yeah. And how do we get the latest numbers? Yeah. So this ends really soon. This ends, I believe, in less than 24 hours. And the vote is very, very close. Ends in
Hey, Gary,
22
can
hours.
you help me? Can you tell me it ends in 22 hours?
Yeah, it ends in 22 hours.
Okay, because I haven't decided if I'm going to change my mind.
Yo, fun fact.
Is that who's that? Is that Corey?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fun fact. Avant-garde is a French word, and it means like the first, like the innovators, something innovative. You know, when you create something or whatever.
Nice thread, girl. Thready with the fun fact. Yeah, avant-garde. I interpret it to have the connotation of meaning kind of out there on the edge, as well. So it's kind of a cool branding. Now, as far as the proposal itself, I want to make some comments here because I feel like nobody's putting it this way. And Gary, I think I was emphatically agreeing with the things you were saying in the DAO meeting earlier, and I have been paying attention. And I want to just comment here more candidly because as soon as I came off the stage and realized kind of the drastic implication of what what is being proposed here and voted on, and the fact that we got people in the room who have yet to finalize perhaps your thinking on it. Let me say this: I am strongly in favor of none of the above, and it's not because I have any bad feeling towards any of these individual fund managers. It's just that we're talking about 80% of an enormous DAO funding. Like how did we even get to this point? We're talking about putting this quantity of assets into management. I think this is ridiculous. And I want to set off alarm bells. Like everyone vote none of the above. Like this is ridiculous. We need to really pump the brakes on this. I think that the proposal, this is an attack vector. Okay, that's like nothing less. Even though it's not intended that way or whatever, like the stability of the whole DAO and the funding of everything, the whole operation, this enormous pile of wealth, to then enter into an investment contract, like an investment arrangement where we're largely diversified into stable coins at this critical moment with the regulatory risk involved and the solvency problems that, even USDC. So anyway, that's enough of a monologue from me. But I just feel like that should be said. Somebody needs to say it that way, that I think this is something that we should really pause. Like, it doesn't mean we can't do it in the future, but like not this much. And yeah, not in stable coins, certainly. And DeFi protocols in general have yet to be proven when it really comes to the long-term durability of these liquidity pools and the automated market making, innovation in general. So they get very one directional, and you have impermanent loss. And if the market makers don't have the incentive to be there, the whole thing will collapse. So I think putting hundreds of millions of dollars in this is an awful idea, personally.
Yeah, so just to give the other side of it, because I'm definitely more in the camp of this is a risk, and I'm not doing nothing, like the none of above, like people that choose none of the above. Choosing none of the above does not mean do nothing. Choosing none of the above means doing something that's not one of the above. And each of the other three proposals, it does take a lot of money. There's loss of oversight. It's I believe 80% of the DAO, of the DAO treasury, which is a significant amount. It's no trivial amount, as you point out. And I'm definitely, I could definitely get more into it. Overall, I'm definitely in that camp of this is a risk, and it's better to be more prudent and more cautious, especially in light of all the fund managers in the world who are blowing up. But just to be fair and to give the other counter argument, the counter argument is that doing nothing and not putting this money into a money management situation is a worse thing to do, because Ethereum could crash more, and it can crash for, theoretically, years. And if Ethereum crashes more, and if it crashes for years, then the core team is going to run out of funding, and the protocol is going to run out of funding to support code initiatives, to support content initiatives, to support community initiatives. And, you know, but the counterpoint to that counterpoint is that we don't need a money manager to take a percentage of the treasury and to simply convert that into stable coins. We don't need a market, you know, a fund manager to stake some of that into some diversified staking, you know, like in some Ethereum staking or like Aave staking, right? While having like a significant portion converted to USDC and then having it, right, like not at risk that amount of money, even if it's like conservative. I mean, but there are two sides of the argument, right? And it's just, it seems like I was saying before, like basically what I'm saying is that it seems, in the light of all the crazy things going on with FTX, and we're going to talk about it later, but the things happening with Genesis and the digital currency group, let alone everything else associated between them and Genesis and crypto.com and everything in between, we don't even know, you know, that we should just be a little more prudent and a little more cautious and a little more deliberate and a little more intentional about these decisions with this treasury, about, you know, this decentralized apparatus, as opposed to transferring 80% to a, you know, a fund manager. I just want to have more thought out, right? I want to have more in place. I want to have dashboards in place. I want to have people that understand money management. I want those people to be front and center at this, you know, when we're having these sort of questions. Right, there's the DAO, there's the theoretical money manager, and, you know, with the DAO, I don't want everyone to have an equal sort of say in the money management, even though we do. But it's like a latte, or the cream rises to the top. You know what I mean? In terms of like all the people in the ENS DAO, the ones that understand money management, they're the cream that can rise to the top, and they can look at what's happening, and they can just have some more input, and we can create some dashboards, especially with the avant-garde. The avant-garde is actually really cool. The avant-garde is connected with Enzyme Finance, and Enzyme Finance is all queryable with the Graph protocol, and the Graph protocol is all super backed up by Chainlink. And they can create, and they have dashboards. I mean, avant-garde was saying that they actually have dashboards, so all that looks cool, but there should be more time placed, I believe, into, you know, going over those dashboards and just, right, like detailing some of this, and maybe we use 40% of the entire DAO instead of 80% of the entire DAO.
Bro, 40% is too high. I mean, 40. I think about this for a second. Think about the magnitude. I mean, nothing could encourage an ETH dropout than, you know, price dip, then ENS itself selling off a huge, I mean, this is a lot. I mean, I don't know how much Ethereum is in the DAO, but I mean, you could imagine with all these registrations, 3 million registrations, we can imagine how we're doing. So imagine if all that ETH is sold and swapped for stable coins. It's like the effect of that. Have we thought about our responsibility to Ethereum, like to the Ethereum community, and what the effect that will have in the market? Like even doing that, like one sale, you kidding me? That alone would be a price change event. So I think there's some accountability on our part to the decentralized community for how we go about, you know, even taking those positions.
No,
Go for it.
Okay, first of all, I totally agree with you. And like, man, ENS, it's an Ethereum naming service. So I can't like wrap my head around all this, because do you think if like if the prices drop to a like insanely new low, I don't know how much people are gonna stay bullish on .eth at the same time, because it's all related, you know. That's what I think, to be honest.
What's reasonable would be like as much as a 24-month runway in stable coins and every damn other thing in Ethereum or maybe some metaverse land or something like that. But I just don't think earning a little 6%, to incur all of this risk makes sense. And it's like what you had said, I mean, it's the ENS protocol. Like, what are we doing? We're not the USDC protocol, but the runway, that makes sense to me. Have a little bit of runway, but a little bit of runway is nothing even approaching even 10% of the treasury.
Hey guys, I wanted to just bring in a point, and excuse me if this was already spoken about, but in order for us to look at this graph like Gary's showing and everything that we're talking about, and really valid points on both sides of the camp, wouldn't there had been already a vote almost with all the questions and points we're bringing up to even get to this point? Because at this point they're already like moved that, they're reneging responsibility to one of these entities. So was there obviously there was already a vote within the DAO voting to get to this point where it's like, okay, does the community want, ENS to continue doing this or to do this, and to get to this point? Was that already done?
Whose voice is that? Just so
I'm sorry, Tech Mental.
Oh yeah, no, sorry. Yeah, I just gotta catch voices here.
Okay.
Yeah, Tech Mental. Yeah. So yeah, so what we're talking about currently is 2.2.5. And before 2.2.5 obviously came 2.2.4. And this is 2.2.4 right here. And so this says, let me zoom in here. So this is a vote. ENS Endowment RFP. First time an RFP has been forwarded to a DAO-wide vote. Request for proposal. What is the endowment? What am I being asked to vote on? You're being asked to approve the issuance of a RFP. If you vote yes, this would be active. They open up an RFP, which means request for proposal. It allows the stewards to look for some potential fund managers to submit some proposals.
Okay, so that's the track record. That's how we got there.
So as far as I'm aware, this didn't include the final, like the forwarding of this snapshot didn't include the balances that each of the 3 shortlisted people were looking for. So what we're voting on right now, as far as I'm aware, is the balances that they've asked for, the 50 mil or the 24,000 ETH, whatever it is. Like, those are the details that are new between 2.2.4 and 2.2.5 or whatever we are voting on right now. So there's a big leap from one to the other. Now, there's a lot of steps in between where, they were culling various groups that were trying to also pitch. But yeah, we're essentially voting on a substantial part of the DAO's treasury. And I think it's extremely risky. I mean, the thing to consider here is that taking an ETH position, whilst risky, it's exposure in the market, and it is still a position. My concern is that not only is there a performance fee that's occurring, but for these avant-garde, Carl, Pat, whatever they are, they could stay in ETH, get that ETH exposure, and as far as I'm aware, we're also paying a performance fee on that ETH growth. We don't need to be giving such a large amount of money, so 25,000 ETH, 52 mil, 30,000 ETH. We don't need to be giving that across to somebody when it's likely we're going to still hold a large part of that in ETH and have exposure to the market, yet with them, we'd pay a performance fee on that growth. Now, ETH right now is sitting at, what, $1,100? It will or it won't drop. It is a risk over a number of years, but you could hold a snapshot and then you could hold the actual, you could go through the process, a temp check, and you could get, say, 3 years put into runway. I think with very little issue, you could have that vote absent of this whole process. And then that buys time. It's both wise and it allows you to buy time and then make more appropriate decisions around how you're going to do the money management. And there is a lot of discussion that has occurred, and it does seem to be that there are 2 sides to this. And I would also go so far as to say that right now, Nick and Avsa are doing a very good job. I'll use the word campaigning for the pick one of, basically don't pick the none of the above. They're right now going out there doing what they can to make sure that something else is picked. You can see it in the tweets, you can see it in the comments. They really want that result. But there is a large contingent of people that say, this is a little bit too much. So I'm in the camp of this is maybe not the move to make now. And I do not think it would be difficult to put forward a let's put 3 years to stables. Very simple.
Man, I'm bearish as fuck on ENS if they dump, I don't know, 30,000 ETH on the market. That's like, they couldn't do any more shitty move.
I don't think a dump of, so not that you're saying this, but you know, they wouldn't market sell anything. I'm sure that wouldn't be very, very wise. That wouldn't be prudent. But even 30,000 onto the market is probably not going to make a dent. So I don't think we're making market moves here with 30,000 ETH. That's not my concern. It's just, it's unnecessary. You know, we can make short-term and medium-term moves to know that there is enough runway. At the same time, we know there are still funds, you know, people are still registering names in this year. They're still making payments. I think there was a post from, I'm going to get this wrong, but you know, I think there was already like 100,000 or whatever. You know, we're still making money this month in October. So that is also going towards costs and things. We just do not need to forego this much money into someone else immediately. And whilst the argument right now is it's better to have money managers managing a large amount, well, unfortunately, we haven't kind of fleshed out the next steps that follow that. Maybe there is some discussion about it, but I don't see us saying, okay, here's how we're managing, you know, what is their policy? How are they going to manage risk? What are the next steps that they're going to do? We're essentially saying they're competent enough that we're going to give them X amount of money and they're going to manage it according to their different proposals. But to me, it's unnecessary right now. We can maintain ETH exposure, we can put to cash, and we can make a decision 6 months and 12 months from now, rather than the greatest risk of, you know, in one of those examples, 50 million handed over in one go. And what could happen to that inside of a year is the contract risk, the user risk, and whatever else. And, you know, there is always risk.
Listen, I totally agree with the risks you just mentioned, but my thing isn't like denting the market. My problem is whenever anyone asks me why I'm most bullish about ENS domains, okay, my first reason is it's because I believe in Ethereum. And that's why I'm bullish on ENS domains, you know, and then comes the utility and everything. But if I don't believe in the network, why would I be? I would invest in .sol. I would invest in anything else. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I mean. Them like dumping ETH. That's in my mind. It's super wrong, and I think a lot of people think the same way as I do. Like it's not a good look in a sense.
Not a good look, and also it's realizing losses in the midst of a bear market. It's like realizing serious losses to, you know, to swap ETH for stables, and I just feel like it's not necessary to take that hit. I mean, even if we have further losses, we should be, you know, we'll just still be stacking ETH. You know, we're basically a DCA model. That's why the DAO has grown so large, because we didn't, you know, do some silliness and shift it out of Ethereum. Yeah, I think a very healthy Ethereum position. And then, you know, like I said, with the metaverse stuff, like if I'm managing these funds, I'm saying 90% of it should be on ETH, and then 10% maybe into some diversified metaverse portfolio for the purpose of marketing and advertising. I would even like to see a DAO held portfolio of names. And I know that there's conflicts there, and it's more complex than it sounds, but
they have a DAO portfolio of names.
Okay. Let's talk about that, Gary.
It's like the ENS Ferry. Yeah. Well, yeah, we can shift to that like after we like, you know, finish hashing this out, like because I you know, just to see if there's anything more to go over for this. Yeah, 25,000 ETH. I was just looking here to the dashboard through Dash Studio. I'm seeing 34,000 Ethereum in the controller account, 4,000 Ethereum in the DAO account. So, you know, there'd still be 19,000 Ethereum left out of 25,000 Ethereum. Is it over here? Yeah. So it's like, you know, someone calculated that at 80%. Yeah, I just wish I just don't feel qualified to be able to answer these questions or understand what's good and what's not good, right? Like especially when I'm considering the advantages and disadvantages of what's a non-zero risk, right? Like this is a non-zero risk. And,
well, let's back up.
You know, yeah.
And like, is Corey. Fundamentally, the issue is that the DAO expenses are basically in US dollar denominated expenses.
Yep. $10,000 or $10 million last time, right? We authorized that.
I thought it
That
was
sounds about right.
4.2.
It was a lot. And the treasury and the income is in ETH. So I think I want to push back on some of the idea that we should like always just have a treasury fully ETH, and that because we're Ethereum, we need to be aligned by that, and that there's like politics to when we sell. In terms of like the treasury, none of that really matters. Like you have to pay your bills. I was part of a DAO, and we ended up selling a bunch of ETH after the market crashed like 50%. And like there were some people who weren't happy about it. But that money paid their salary for the next like 6-12 months. So the thing is, my bias in general is to do little. So I think I put in a vote for Llama to take over because it would be high friction. And a lot of the suggestions around like, well, let's just do simple strategies. Like let's just put X% into USDC or something and then just sit on it. Some of those can be achieved with let me take the conversation in this direction. The people who work at ENS right now fundamentally are developers, and they don't really want the responsibility of managing the treasury. That's probably where the source of this dialogue started. And if you look at the past markets, then Ethereum could fall to $280 if it fall, or some 240 or something if it falls the same that it did in whatever. We can all have an opinion about that, but there are
240 or by 240.
It would fall like, it fell to like 80 last time, right? And the high was about 3x higher, so the low would be about 3x higher too. So it'd be like 250-ish. So if you had like a 94% drawdown from the top. And we can all like look at the market today and be really happy that like probably no one else is going to get liquidated, but then something could happen in Europe and the entire global economy could move in a different direction. So a lot of people, like, there's this bias in treasury management and personal finances and corporate management. And I've been involved with, I wrote the financial spreadsheet for my startup for 2 years. Like we had millions of dollars that we had to allocate. It's tough because you can't predict things. We had a bunch of our forecasts go wrong because supply chain issues. We were trying to build robots, and turns out it was costing us 4 times as much as we expected. So you have to have someone. So I think like I'm fundamentally in favor of the idea of like having a role for this, like a person or an entity in charge of what is the appropriate balance in the treasury account. I have less than an opinion about what the actual ratio should be, because for all the reasons everyone has highlighted in a certain sense. But I am probably more cautious than some of the sentiment shared earlier on the call here, because I've been involved in a couple of scenarios where we benefited from cautiousness. and reservation. And it's really tempting to look at the treasury and be like, man, that could be a lot of money going into the future. But we're going to have ENS will have ongoing income denominated in ETH forever. So like one way you can think about this is if like you look at your income and your assets, and this is what they tell startup employees when their stock vests, is like, if your stock is vesting, or in this case, like you're selling domains, and then you have this volatile asset in your treasury, either in this case, ENS holding ETH, or to draw parallels to a personal example, some startup engineer holding their equity once it vests, or a Microsoft employee. But the problem is that person's income, along with ENS's income, is also denominated in that same asset. So in the scenario where like their income goes down, it's correlated to the scenario where their savings goes down, right? So if you're a startup employee, what this means to you is every time your equity vests and you buy it out, you probably should sell it, because otherwise you're basically doubling down, and you're not going to do well because you'll lose your job and you'll lose all your equity. ENS is kind of the similar way, where it's like, if Ethereum does well, then like none of this matters, because we're just going to be raking in income and we don't have many expenses for the DAO to pay for development anyways. And like a bunch of code is already written. Like we could, reduce the head count of the developers we're paying anyways. But the treasury management is for the other scenario, and that's when ETH doesn't do well. And if ETH doesn't do well, then the income is down. So you have this correlation. And so I think fundamentally, I agree that someone or something should be in charge of it, and that probably the best person is not the brilliant engineers that have developed ENS so far. With respect to the options, I do find it quite difficult to decide between them. And so my bias was the highest friction one, which was Llama, because I figured that then high friction means you're making fewer decisions, and probably it would end up kind of organically in a scenario where you convert some to stables and then you just kind of sit on it or something. Like, I feel like sitting on stables and then figuring out a staking solution and then doing nothing is like a great option. But I was less in favor of the centralized ones, the Avant-Garde and the Karpaki, I think. But it was just like an intuition thing. I don't feel as strongly about this as I did like arguing with Gary over auction parameters a few months back. Anyway, that's my monologue.
That was a lot. I mean, auction parameters were a lot more fun, because that's like, those are just like sort of fun game mechanics. Like if the auction goes up or if the auction goes down, with like the psychology and the revenue for the DAO versus, what I see is like the marketing of the auction, which I would love to get into, but we're not going to do that right now. Versus this, because what I'm hearing from you is that I'm hearing you argue with yourself, because you're giving really good arguments on both sides. On one hand, you're saying,
I feel somewhat indecisive. So feel free to tell me what I'm thinking. I'd love that.
Well, I'm just reflecting what I heard. And what I heard you say is that on one hand, the developers and the DAO, they need to have the money to pay themselves. They need to have the money to keep, the lights on and to keep things going, right? And to continue doing the incredible work that we love that's being done. And they don't want to have to worry about it. It's really stressful. And yeah, they just want it to be taken care of. Side note, yeah, you could handle that through Avant-Garde or Karpaki or whatever, which is sort of centralized, and it's all this is happening very, very quickly, and it's a very significant portion of the treasury. It could also be taken care of by converting, right, into stables and by doing light staking, which isn't sort of involved. Because what I'm also hearing you say is that, there's just a huge risk, right, with the centralization. And there's a huge, and reading between the lines, what I'm hearing you say is that there's also a potential risk with the size, with the amount of money that we're talking about, right? Because out of, what do we say, 35,000 ETH, right?
It did strike me
35,000
as a surprisingly large amount to start out with.
A surprisingly large amount, yeah. So out of 35,000 ETH, we're saying we're going to do 25,000, $100 million, 80% of the treasury, 12.5 performance fee. There's a lot of things that I like about them. There's a lot of, I know they're centralized. The dollar amounts are really high. I like that. Like I said before, I'm not a hardcore developer. I'm just like more like developer relations, project management and whatnot. But I really like that the enzyme connects with Graph Protocol. It connects with Chainlink. It allows anybody to build a dashboard. Dashboards could be built. Things could be watched. I believe sunlight is an amazing disinfectant that would help, have some early warning indicators if there was anything funky happening that we need to be aware of, because we'd have a line of defense with inside the financial professionals that are part of the ENS, right? It's like we have lawyers that are in the ENS DAO. We have HR professionals in the ENS DAO. We have developers. We have marketers. We have financial professionals. And they don't have the education yet. They don't have the dashboards yet, even if the dashboards exist. And so we went from EIP, or not EIP, EP 2.2.4, which was, hey, can we do this RFP, to EP 2.2.5, which is 80% of our treasury in a centralized, sort of control. And me and I'm not an expert in this area, but I just know that things are happening fast, and I don't fully understand, what are the parachutes and what are the exits out of a bad situation. I'm not even fully aware of what a bad situation looks like. And I'm coming right off of like the craziness of FTX crashing, right? On top of the craziness of Terra Luna crashing, on top of the craziness of Three Arrows crashing. And now we have crypto.com crashing, and now we have Genesis talking
So
about
let me ask you a question. Because I've heard this argument and I read it on the forums where some people imagine a high volatility event that requires decisive action, and that this was used in particular both as a reason for needing some sort of management of the treasury, and also an argument for a more centralized, quicker acting, decisive, lower friction one.
definitely cuts both ways.
My philosophy was that you kind of take the contrapositive in order to say that you shouldn't end up in those scenarios to begin with. So if you're saying that chasing yield means that you have to put your money in this centralized, decisive actor, then I'd kind of rather just not chase the yield. And so putting the money, for instance, among the candidates with the DAO, the llama, where everything has to go through like an on-chain vote, you kind of are incentivized to never take on a position that would have urgency, right? Like you kind of would just sit on stables and do something else. You're not going to be maybe
leverage. How much
chasing.
leverage is acceptable, right? When we're chasing yield.
Yeah, I don't think any leverage is needed, really. We're a
man.
business, right? Like, I mean, does a startup like leverage their treasury? They take on debt, but that's different because they're usually selling equity.
The leveraging.
Although I have done it the other way as well.
Leveraging debt is just different than leveraging, right? Like financial leveraging.
I have done both at the last start, but I don't think like I'd rather just push back on yield and chasing leverage at all. It's just I just don't think it's worth 5 to 10%. Like I think the real money maker is if you want 10% more money, raise the cost of an ENS by 10%. Other people will disagree with that for reasons, but like at some point, things like that. Like to me, ENS it's not a treasury, right? It's not like I think everybody loves like copying the DeFi nerds and Yearn and like, oh, let's just throw this shit in these protocols. But you don't really have to do that. You can kind of just hold your coins. It's worked really well for me for 9 years. A lot better than chasing yield, honestly. And so
Not
I
your
like
keys.
the high friction. I like high friction or do nothing. And since I am sympathetic to the do something presented with the options, I think even after discussing it, I kind of like the way I voted, which is that the high friction holder should win. Although I wish it was a smaller size, but I feel like I don't think that one's going to win the vote anyway, but yeah, that's my response.
So when this was first, I think, mentioned, it was sometime early August. I'm not sure what the price of ETH was at the time, but it's only been a couple of months. That is a lot of time, actually, but it's only been a couple of months. Details have come more recently quite quickly. But, we could have gone to stables for a large portion at that point in time and be having different discussions right now. To some extent, this feels like, and just because something feels doesn't mean it actually is. My feelings don't mean jack, but it feels like now it's a last minute push to cater to what seems like a risky situation. And to me, I don't like the idea of acting on that. Again, it's just a feeling. But we could have been in stables a long time ago. We could make a decision to be in stables right now.
I agree with that. I don't want to postulate too much on the individuals behind the proposal, but I think it's perfectly acceptable to say that general market fear. Like if ETH was 3 times as high, maybe this proposal doesn't exist, right? If the shape of the chart looks a lot better, these things kind of matter.
Corey, do you think we're closer to the bottom or the closer to the top?
Oh, I think we're closer to the bottom, but I think it's a lot of sideways, and I think that there could be.
Right, but if we're closer to the bottom,
I think crypto specific is fine. I think if we get World War III, everything is. I think that here's what I think. I think if like the geopolitical situation deteriorates in a historical fashion, then crypto will hit lower lows. If we mostly kind of go sideways, then we'll just kind of go sideways. And I think crypto is still detached enough; it'll just go back into its 4-year cycle. So I'm watching geopolitics more than crypto specific in terms of downside risk.
If geopolitics kick up and you think crypto goes down, do you think gold goes up or down?
Gold will go up. Gold will go up for a while because nations are going to try gold before they try Bitcoin. If you look at, I've read it.
Yeah, but you don't think there's going to be a supply shock? You don't think there's going to be a supply shock on Bitcoin because of the supply squeeze with the holders of last resort and like how much little Bitcoin? Because like there's actually not a lot of Bitcoin available in the world, right?
I think the people with money
there is
mostly
a major,
don't
like,
have.
Like you agree there's a major supply shock, like a major short squeeze?
No, I think Bitcoin is better, but I think
do you think there's the potential for a major short squeeze if geopolitics get bad?
Not in 2023. I think that could play into. I think that has to take on more. It would have to align.
So you don't subscribe to the Tim Draper prediction. Tim Draper said we're going to hit. I'm just saying this for fun, okay? But Tim Draper just recently doubled down on his prediction back in 2018. They asked him if he still believes in his prediction from 2018 that Bitcoin's going to hit over 6 figures in early 2023, and he says he still believes Bitcoin is going to hit 6 figures in early 2023. And I'm thinking about that. I'm listening, and I'm thinking the only way to do that would have to be like a major short squeeze with geopolitics.
I just can't get over the fact that the world stopped trading with each other, and so everything is going to be more expensive. Like politics reduces prices more than technology, right? Like China going from communism to capitalism was worth $20 trillion to the world. So now we're going in reverse, and we're just like, we're not going to import technology from each other. We're not going to sell oil to each other. So I just don't think there's much money. If we get a short squeeze, it is not going to 6K. 6 figures. It's going to like, I don't know, mid 30s. And then everybody's going to be like, oh, thank God for some exit liquidity. And we'll go back. Like, I think that's a little bit of hopium. So I think that crypto, like most of the leverage is gone. So I don't think the Grayscale Trust will be forcibly sold Otherwise, I think we would have seen that in price action by now. Someone would have figured that out and known. I mean, otherwise, I don't know what's going to happen behind the scenes. I you know, that's like lawyer, CFO level stuff. But yeah, I mean, my bear risk is Putin, basically. Otherwise, like what we touch, like 888 on the last one, roughly, maybe that's our downside. I don't want to. Now I'm on video predicting prices, but I'm not like worried about the 250 scenario we were talking about earlier, unless like, God forbid, a tactical nuke goes off in Ukraine or something, and then you're into another black swan.
So,
but it seems like the leverage is gone, right? And we're going to have a Bitcoin happening. We've turned off proof of work. Fundamentals are coming back, but these things take time.
And we're not predicting prices. We're just like shooting the shit and just, spitballing predictions of,
yeah.
I mean? Like,
I mean, you got to estimate the tail risk, because that's the scenario where ENS goes bankrupt. So, or really they would just like run out of funds until people renew names. I mean, honestly, what would happen is a bunch of people would renew their names, I bet. As long as we didn't waste the money. But
it's not even that, because like ENS, I mean, yeah, if we go into a down cycle, then like there could be less people buying names than normal. But basically assuming that the world keeps on, like the sun comes up tomorrow and people keep on using Ethereum, ENS is an NFT protocol that has cash flow, real cash flow. And so it's not like they did a NFT drop and then like, oh, we sold all the NFTs, now we just have $10 million or we just have $100 million, and holy shit, yeah, we gotta get residuals now, and we gotta do a second token drop or something. No, it's like there's a real product, there's real cash flow.
I think the trick is keeping expenses down, not chasing yield. Like I'd rather trim our expenses 10% than chase 10% yield.
I think the real alpha is actually to pick up some cheap responsibility. And I thought I might just say, Guinan, discuss.
So I want to say hello to everybody. And then if we are doing if we're doing any type of price prediction, it's non-financial advice, but Ethereum's going down to 420. Bitcoin topped at 69,000. Ethereum's going down to 420. I don't make the rules. I just play the game. And I might have to pick up some responsibility.
Yo, great. Listen up to what 184 was saying. If they switch like to stable coins, I swear I'm minting stable coins naming service.eth, and I'm buying stable coins naming service.com just to screw them. And I'm gonna get a Twitter. And I'm gonna make a Twitter account, stablecoins naming.
You better buy that right now.
And FUD the shit out of ENS, man. Actually, not really FUD because it goes against my bags, but like shitpost a lot.
The risk of going to a centralized, model of management with the treasury, and with a large percentage of it, is partially that aspect of the increasing kind of power of the decision making around that. Now, when it comes to the cash flow discussion, this is really good stuff, because I think this brings to light the fact that so dollar cost averaging is going to be a term that everyone in the room is probably familiar with, right? And so selling our position should also be thought like, if we're converting to some amount of stables, it shouldn't be just like, okay, we're going to, do this with 30, however much percent of the treasury over X number of months. It really should be thought of in terms of the cash flow, not like a percentage of whole. It should be thought of, okay, it makes sense to take this percentage of our, like, what's the sustainable model? So I like the idea of going, okay, we're going to take 10% of our monthly and immediately convert that to stables. I don't know why we're talking about doing any kind of lump sum or big, carving up of the treasury. The problem should be solved from a cash flow perspective. I think that's an interesting take on it.
Well, there are different things going on, because the DAO has a mandate to spend money to support ENS, and the DAO has a mandate to spend money to support Web3, right? To support public goods. And so, I have one number in my head, and I don't got time right now to pull it up. I'm pretty sure it was like $10 million that True Names Limited, now ENS Labs got authorized in one of the last votes. But whatever that number is that ENS Labs needs to operate, right? Because they're the core team and they're the founding team, and we know who they are, and I like them and I support them and I want to continue supporting them. I don't want them going anywhere. We're lucky to have them. And so there's that amount of money that they need. I think it might have been Corey that was saying, for like a 2-year runway or somebody. And we, realistically, even though I am crypto native, I still know enough to recognize that cash is king, right? You got to pay the rent, you got to pay the bills, you got to pay the lights. And the markets can go up, the markets can go down, right? Like Gwayman put it out there. He said not financial advice, but ETH is going to 420. So if that's the case, right? If there is a certain amount converted into USDC, then that amount of money, which would be otherwise being sold, right? Every one Ethereum would be 2 Ethereum spent instead of just spending that right now. You essentially have double the money, right? Based on those numbers. And so just having that runway, as they call it, that cash flow can be really powerful. But should that be in the hands of a semi-centralized organization? Should it be 80% of the controller account? Should we have more education and preparation before we, release the authorization? Just a couple good questions.
How much of the additional income goes into the endowment fiduciary, account, or however it's structured? That's another question to ask, because I think if we're like from the cash flow perspective, right? So let's say every month we have X amount coming in, and a percentage of it gets swapped to stables to build and sustain the operational budget. A certain percentage gets put into the endowment. And then, there's going to be, at some point, we're going to have carved it all up. Some of it has to go into advertising, promotion, and growth partnerships. So I think that accounts for our operational expenses. We should, because right now we have a problem.
Oh, right, yeah. Well, that was a whole other bucket, though, right? Like there's the one bucket of just the core team working, but that's what I was going to get to. Then there's this other bucket of like all this extra stuff that we want to do. And so what's that total amount for runway, right? I mean, I don't know. These are big questions, right? I feel like we should have some numbers in between.
Even USDC, like with its blacklist, makes me nervous.
Agree. Strongly agree.
I agree.
It just doesn't. It isn't aligned, and someone could.
It would have to be intentional. For ENS USDC to be blacklisted, there would have to be some sort of spark to make that happen. And basically an attack against ENS would be an attack against Ethereum.
I don't want to describe attacks, but I have them in my mind. Like, because of the way ENS works, you can host content. And so you never know who is going to get upset.
Yeah, that's a really good point, that there's a reason why the DAO is built the way that is and instantiated the way that it is. It's very well defended right now, and that's why a lot of us believe in it, because especially Thread Girl is here from a country where she can't even use OpenSea. So it's very real to us, the fact that people are going to get rugged, there's going to be DMCA stuff happening, and the DAO is built around this, this culture of, screw that. This is not how we're playing that game. Now, imagine a scenario where you have 80%, tens of millions of dollars in a treasury, a lot of it allotted in some USDC. You see how it's an attack vector. It's a hook to be able to say, oh, well, we need this DAO to be compliant with this one name, and we have this legal case, and we can hook you by the USDC. We can get you, by the balls. I feel like
it's worse. I mean, this is a different conversation, and this is like a whole other bag of chips, because there's one scenario that you're talking about where the DAO is existing and the scenario that you're describing happens. And there's a second scenario where there has to be a vote. The scenario you're describing happens where you're creating like you're making decisions that are upsetting, right? Like powerful centralized authorities, and it goes to a vote, and I'm a delegate, and I'm in America. Spoiler alert. And so if I vote on something and that vote determines to be like, what do you call it? Just like, against the rules of the authority, then is that something that I could be held, criminally liable for? Right? Will they attack the delegates for how they vote if they vote a particular way? Like, I don't think they can force them to vote, but
we can't send money to sanctioned people. As far as you're not allowed to participate in votes. This is why I think I want to talk about the spending side, because I guess now that I think about it, I don't understand how we had millions of names sold and now suddenly we only have 2 years of runway. How did we get here? We're spending way too much money.
No. I mean, what do you mean? No, we don't have 2 years of runway. I mean, we have over $100 million. We have the second largest treasury in all of Web3.
Can I just also pause here, because 10 mil's been mentioned a couple of times. My understanding was, at least for this calendar year, it was a $4.2 million. Those were the expenses. It was 3.8 with an extra 400K as a buffer. So 4.2 mil. So where's the 10 coming from in annual expenses?
That's me bringing that up. That's what I thought I saw in a tweet when Nick Johnson was bringing up some numbers before, because I thought he was saying that there was like a $10 million number that was converted, and then there was like 2 million of that left, which is where I think Corey might be getting like the $2 million of runway left number. When I closed all my tabs, but I just showed there's 35,000 ETH in the controller address right now, and so that's over $100 million, right? Isn't it? Or no? How much is that? No,
just add 3 zeros.
Yeah, so 35 million. Was that it? Yeah, because I guess it was like 100 million when.
I think if I were in charge, I'd do something simple. I'd try to keep 5+ years of runway just in ETH, and I'd maybe explore staking just dollar-denominated stablecoin. I would maybe RAI would be interesting, as opposed to something that is pegged to government currency, fiat currency.
What is RAI?
RAI is a glorified PID controller that tries to stay the same price as it was the day before, per se, in layman's terms. And so slowly over time, it loses value, but it's very stable. It started as $3.14, and now it's like high $2 or something, 280, 290, 270, I don't know. But it's basically a PID controller that tracks its own price and then reprices, minting new ones and stuff.
Well,
so the advantage there is that it can't be
going to go through.
It can't be revoked.
Is it similar to? Is that similar to Llama, or different?
RAI is a stable coin, so it's just an asset that you would hold.
So is it similar to DAI?
Yeah, it's even more censorship resistant than DAI.
Where's the security mechanism come from?
Immutable smart contract.
It's just algorithmically immutable.
Yeah.
DAI's backed by.
It's unbacked. Or no, it's backed by ETH, or must be backed by ETH, or maybe it's. Let me Google. I want to get this correct.
And no maker token, nothing like that.
Right, because DAI is backed by Maker Token, and Maker Token's backed by, I guess, Bitcoin or whatever, because it's, I think.
Yeah, right. It is.
They used to be all ETH.
It's a non-pegged stablecoin backed by ETH.
And then the ETH is held in a smart contract.
So basically, it's paying for censorship resistance. So it's backed by ETH, which means that it's over collateralized, and it's just like this magic PID controller. So it's always like incentivizing people to bring it back to price peg, which means that the protocol essentially is paying for that liquidity slowly over time. But as a result, you get even stronger censorship resistance than something like DAI, which is CDP, which holds fiat risk, right? So it's just a different mechanism. It's over collateralized ETH, basically pegged not to $1, but originally to Pi dollars, 3.14 cents. So the reason I like that is because with the treasury management, like you're trying to protect against your tail risk, right? So in your tail risk, you're not concerned about a 10% loss over a few years in RAI. You're concerned about 100% loss of your USD coin because somebody posted something wrong about the president, right? Or something. I don't know. We could make up scenarios, but
that,
so again, we have like what, a few devs. I do
limited.
think like
It's
if we try
limited
to
by
come back to the
liquidity.
argument, I do think it makes sense for, maybe we shouldn't get too much into tokens here, but like I think it makes sense for someone to be in charge of this. I still like the idea that it's higher friction. Yeah, I mean stablecoins are good, but they also scare me. Like in my opinion, like they will all blow up or be captured. All of them that exist today.
To that point, I have a question, guys. Circling around to the confidence behind USDC, who actually is in charge of USDC? So I want to read a sentence real quick and see what you guys can take from it. The wording on the Circle website changed from previous backed by the US dollars to backed by fully reserved assets. So what do you guys take away from that based on like what you guys were just talking about?
That's fine, because my understanding is they're buying short-term treasuries. So they're getting a nominal yield from the government by, as long as the US government exists in 3 months. That's effectively the same as holding $1, but it's going to be worth $1 and a fraction of a cent to them. So they're diversified into treasuries a little bit. It has a bank run risk in that,
crypto.
for instance, if you had too many of those treasuries and a bunch of your customers wanted to withdraw into US dollars, you don't actually have those dollars to give them until your treasury either matures or you sell it on the market for US dollars. So if you understand basically how a treasury works, I don't think this is concerning at all.
No, and you see, the thing with USDC is that basically there's I don't want to call it a war. It's because it's like almost like a lighthearted, like friendly, competition. But there's a competition in the world happening with stable coins, happening with central bank digital currencies, happening with that sort of like fiat, and it's sort of happening in two different lanes. And so one lane you have like private government stable coins, and the private government stable coins are stable coins that are created by enterprises, like JP Morgan coin or USDC, which is created by Circle, and I think is it Jeremy Allaire's company, and Circle is very closely connected with Coinbase. And what it comes down to with that private government stable coin USDC is that they're either doing everything in a legal and compliant way. Genesis is a different scenario. Genesis is over leveraged, and they may have just taken a hit with FTX, so that's different because that's leverage. But and we can get into it later. But like things like Grayscale and USDC, they're over regulated, and there's a really good chance that those leaders of those companies are following the regulation. And then there's another lane where there's government issued, government backed USDC, right, coming when I say government, coming through the Federal Reserve, and basically these stable coins are sanctioned, and they have full control to blacklist any of the addresses and to shut down, right, like any address from no longer being able to send USDC. but that's part of the benefit of it as well, right? And that's part of the benefit of ENS using it, or at least like potentially using it, is because, you know, unless like ENS, the protocol, the open source protocol, is doing anything wrong, right? And like to say like one person having a website where that one website is hosting content that the government doesn't want, that's, you know, it's similar to like, you know, someone using Twitter and someone having content, you know, that they don't like. You can't send, or email, you know, you can't censor like, you know, SMTP necessarily. So
I don't know what kind of parents you guys had, but sometimes you just like don't want to test the beast, you know?
that's true. Yeah, of course. Yeah. I'm not saying test the beast. I'm just saying if there was like a bad situation where someone was, you know, having like let's just say it, like a decentralized website where it had content that, you know, like the government didn't want on that website, it's not about sanctioning the little bit of USDC that the ENS DAO has, right? Because you're talking about all of ENS, you're talking about all of, you know, IPFS, you know, it's like a larger systemic problem, you know. So
We talked
yeah.
earlier about like
And
what is
if,
the
and just real
responsibility of
quick,
ENS DAO?
if they did do that attack, that attack would be like, you know, like we don't want to attack the bear, but the bear to be attacking the bee nest, and it's like a lose-lose situation for both sides.
Gary always has the best animal analogies. Yesterday we got into a turducken swan goose analogy.
Wrapped in bacon.
I clipped that today.
I keep looking for the heart emojis.
Yes. Actually, I got a great heart emoji. I'm trying to sync up. Hey, Gary, I want to let you know in the background right now, I'm on Alt Space VR with a friend, and we're looking to kind of hook up everyone together, maybe later on if there's time and interest, and if we can manage it. So just so you know, if anyone's on Alt Space VR, you have to download the app, and it's very Microsoft centric, kind of a centralized thing. But it's cool. My buddy has a mansion, a penthouse in there, and he's decked it out. He's got some cool ENS maxis on the wall. I onboard him to ENS, and so anyway, he'd like to share this at some point, and it doesn't have to be tonight, but we're just kind of demoing it and trying it out. And if you guys are interested, we'd be happy to give you a little tour and do the restream and whatever.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, we'll check that out. Is it like a link or something?
Yeah, I think basically there's an access code, and so you have to first download Alt Space VR.
You want to share your screen and show it later?
Yeah, that's what I was going to suggest. Might be a good way to start off.
Cool. Yeah, I don't want to download shit.
It's almost like, but it's browser based as well. So, right? Because you
I've
don't
not
really...
used Alt Space VR in the browser, and I'm fairly certain that you can't. It's a full on executable. It's a Microsoft. You get it on the Microsoft App Store, so it's not like suspect in that way. If anything, it's suspect because it's so centralized. But
you don't need VR. What I'm suggesting, you can just kind of walk through.
Yes,
right.
correct.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
Definitely. Yeah, I don't use like VR goggles, but the whole point of this is that because it uses the system resources so at such a low level with the deployable, like with the EXE and everything, you're able to get a pretty smooth like immersive experience. So if you do have some kind of Oculus or headset, VR headset, it's a super cool, just really different level of that.
Cool. Yeah, let's check that out in a little bit. And in the meantime, we can go to this story. Yeah, the headlines are crazy, right? Like we there's all these horrible, like look at this like horrible like headline with this like imagery. Grayscale liquidation could leash a Bitcoin Armageddon. But like today's news just came out today. Genesis warns of likely bankruptcy without like the $1 billion in funding, with the $1 billion emergency loan because of the liquidity crunch that they're going through. This following the crash of FTX, right? So, you know, this would be another big hit for the market that we would need to get through before we can actually reach the crypto bottom. And so
now,
this
is that Genesis coin from the Winkle brothers?
I don't know if there's like a Genesis coin. Is there a Genesis coin?
Well, I mean, the Genesis wallet from those guys, right?
Yeah, but this is the Winklevoss. Wait, Genesis? No, the Winklevoss is Gemini. This is
okay.
Yeah, but I think this could affect a lot of people because Genesis has like lent out, I believe, hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars to lots of different firms. And so what the big thing that everybody's freaking out about, like really freaking out about, is the connection between Grayscale and Genesis, right? Because Grayscale has the Bitcoin, the Bitcoin Investment Trust, right? GBTC. And that's like a Bitcoin that people could purchase through their financial vehicle. It's like a financial product. You got to be like a part of the sort of like the Web0 financial system to be able to purchase GBTC. Once you purchase it, sort of like stuck there for like 6 months or some period of time. I'm not a big expert on it, but it's not like a liquid thing like Bitcoin per se. We were talking about it a couple of days ago, right? And we were talking like the premium was something crazy, like, what was it, like 30 or 40%? The time of this article, what was this just today? 45% discount, right? So it was like $16,000 Bitcoin is less than 10 grand through a GBTC. It's a huge discount on the price. And personally, I was using this as like a bottom signal or like a market turn signal. Over here, Meltdown or Meltem, a lot of people know her and investor in the market. Yeah, just looking at it, the GBTC discount approaching 50%, and there are trusts that have and continue to trade at a greater than 50% discount. And it's going to be interesting to see how the marketing will trade and price this going forward. She thought that negative 35% was the bottom and that the gap was going to close. Basically she was saying that she thought this was the bottom. Spoiler alert from then, 10 hours ago. It's like this was not the bottom. Yeah, like super crazy stuff. If they,
so it seems like Genesis
if they go bankrupt,
going to go bankrupt. That seems likely as an entity.
That's what this guy. That's what Ryan here is saying. Saying
That said,
Godspeed.
I don't think the Grayscale Trust will be forced to unwind. Otherwise, I feel like we'd see that more in the price action. But it might have to be sold on or something. I mean, who knows how that fund and his stuff is structured? No one, I think anyone really knows. So,
well, assuming they're not committing fraud, it should be totally fine.
So if we enumerate, well, we don't have to enumerate, but if we just stick to what we know this trust is profitable, or the fees it generates per se. So the trust has
highly
value.
Profitable.
Quite a bit, yeah. It's like I read, it's like 100 million now, and the peak bull market with it was 400 or 500 million in fees across the suite of trusts. And so operating those trusts is a profitable business. And unless there's some legal gotcha that forces it to unwind, and I don't know how we could ever know, really, then that trust should just kind of exist for a while until the SEC does its thing. I almost feel like this is almost a non-event. Like it's going to be talked about a bunch, and it's going to be really hard for Barry and Genesis creditors. But everybody's worried about the Grayscale trusts, and I'm struggling to see trustworthy information that leads it to being force liquidated basically on the market, which would be a truly unprecedented event. But even then, like I imagine my intuition about American laws that they don't just like hit the red button on $10 billion of Bitcoin.
This is a good quote right here. You're not going to kill the goose to save Genesis.
Right. And even then there would be liquidators and they have a strategy, and like I think it's an easy event to FUD, but I think ultimately it's going to be maybe nothing. Obviously none of this is financial advice. Yeah.
Yeah, look at the timeline. November 8th, the Genesis timeline. November 8th, no material net credit exposure. November 9th, we lost $7 million. November 10th, okay, we have $175 million locked in FTX. Oh my goodness. The 16th.
It's like if an AI was generating one of these bankruptcy sequences. It's like exactly one of those. Yeah.
It's like a text game.
I assume Genesis is going bankrupt, and I have
This
no
is
idea
2 weeks.
really.
Less than 2 weeks. No material net credit exposure to 175 million lost to we need 1 billion to we're going bankrupt. That's not funny. It's just unfortunate.
That's a script for the perfect meme. That's crazy.
Yeah, and so I want to be careful.
I mean, I learned to trust price, right? If you don't really know what's going on. I guess price is really low, but still. It's not like
yeah, so it's just in light of that crazy stuff. Yeah, so just in light of that crazy stuff, it's just interesting to talk about the ENS fund. We got some ASMR in the background, and so this is just why I just want to be like really cautious, you know, when we're talking about the ENS treasury and how money is being managed.
So, question for the audience, like basically yes or no. Do you think the DAO, through either itself or one of these financial intermediaries, should it hold any USD coin, USDC?
As opposed to what? DAI? Because the problem with the other token that you were talking about is that it has to have liquidity and it has to have market.
DAI would be an option.
Yeah.
Absolutely, they should. But like all things, diversify it, right? Reduce that risk a fraction, or bank it, right? Pay not TNL. Pay ENS Labs a little early. Give them 8.4 mil.
Yeah, some USDC, like whatever the cash needs to be, maybe like 50-50 or 40-60, you know, USDC DAI, you know.
Yeah, I agree. I think that we should do a little bit. Definitely stay in ETH. I wouldn't move like a majority out of it. I'd keep a lot in ETH, but you can still do a lot with USDC. If they want to like really play it safe out here, their best bet is probably hedge it with ENS maxis. If they want to allocate some in that direction, maybe a seal. I don't know, but that's just my opinion.
You and Novax with the maxis and the land. You know, in all seriousness, if you guys really want this ENS land, all you have to do is do a proposal, right? Get into the discuss.ens.domains. You put together a proposal. You say, we want to buy land in crypto voxels. We want to get land here. We want to get land there, and it's going to cost this much money. And you know, this business is going to manage it. And this is what we're going to do. We're going to build this, and we're going to like, you know, put all the help desk here, and we're going to put the lost and found ENS ferry over there. And then someone that has 100,000 tokens will put that up for a vote.
Which actually, if Corey puts his seal back in his PFP, he'll get those 20,000 back, and he can put it forward.
What do I have to do?
Did you say seal?
A seal?
Corey has a seal?
You said you had your
seal.
Oh no! Oh, it was your cool cat, wasn't it?
It was a cat.
We got the seals on his mind. It's working.
I'm buying it right now.
It's working.
I think the time for the cats has passed. You know, I think
get a seal cover.
I think the blacklist risk of USDC for ENS DAO is significantly higher than it is for basically any other DAO or entity in the entire crypto ecosystem because it's so visible. It is one of the main services on this decentralized network, which competes with the financial infrastructure of the world. And all the spending is done through these on-chain proposals. So,
but we agree an attack on ENS is an attack on Ethereum. Yes.
Yes.
And so if they attack the,
but I think that we already are like, sure. I think they're already attacking it in different ways, however they can.
Yeah. And so, I mean, do you like the analogy that, you know, the centralized, you know, power players is the bear and the decentralized entity is like the pack of snakes or the pack of bees, you know, because there's like this decentralized group that are each going to respond in like a counter way. And
I understand the idea that you might want to like invite some level of challenge because you know that you'll probably win. But that still doesn't mean like you're getting the money back. Like if you look at Tornado,
yeah,
that guy's still in jail, right? Like it doesn't, like the state has the advantage of time, and so
do you think
like they can lock up that money?
So let's use a Tornado for an example.
Like if you put the money in USDC and then they lock it, you can't pay your devs with locked money, right? Like who's showing up in court?
There's a trade-off. Yes.
Yeah, like who is raising their hand and taking a pledge? Like which person?
No, you're right. That money would be lost if that happened. The money would be lost. You're like 100% right.
I'm extremely reticent to USDC. I'd prefer DAI minimally. Even then, ENS DAO is sort of like so rich that like
DAI also has risk.
Like
DAI also has
stable coin.
DAI has different risk.
Yeah. Well, right. What are the DAI risks?
Well, 40% of DAI is USDC, but it's all in one big smart contract. So it would have to be frozen for all DAI at once. You can't just do it on a targeted basis like you can with holding direct USDC, where in the case of the DAO, it could be targeted directly by Circle or the government.
If USDC and the government wanted to attack ENS, and if ENS had like even like 10%, like, yeah, maybe we get screwed and it's like, maybe we lose all 85% because it goes to this centralized exchange and the government says by law, you have to like, this money is seized. So yeah, we lose 85% of the treasury, but then they also need to attack the USDC on DAI, and then DAI is going to take a hit. Right. And then people are going to get freaked out. And then some people are going to put a short squeeze on Ethereum because people all over the world, like one of the reasons that crypto is not illegal is because like one of the reasons crypto is not legal is because if crypto is legal, Bitcoin would be $1 million a coin. And one of the reasons crypto is not illegal, because if it was illegal, Bitcoin would be $1 million a coin. Because either way, if they make it legal or illegal, that creates certainty, right? Like a lot of people don't understand when you say drugs are illegal, then a drug dealer can create a business plan, right? A drug dealer, it's like really hard to make a business plan if you don't know if like what regulations you have to deal with, right? Or like, you know, do you got to deal with the police or do you got to deal with the health inspector?
Right? I think these blacklisting things are uniquely easy for the feds to do. Like you, they
can do it instantly. It literally takes reasonably speaking, it takes less than a half hour. They just literally place a phone call. That the right person calls the right person. They have like FTX. They did it in like an hour.
Right. So
they instantly weren't able to spend the money. So
Tether is an alternative that we haven't discussed.
Oh my goodness. Frightening. It's like, that's like a horror movie waiting to happen.
For real. But listen. So for a normie like me, the thing that makes more sense is take whatever you're making now and diversify your portfolio as much as you want, right? Don't take out a full chunk um, from your ETH, because like starting with it's a bad image. ENS, it's Ethereum naming service, man. I still can't wrap my head around this.
Yeah, Ethereum is now deflationary. Ethereum is ultrasound money. Ethereum is an appreciating asset that has a real world utility, real world use case with potentially increasing demand, right? If like ENS does better, Ethereum is going to do better. It's, you know, there's going to be more people are going to want it, and it's going to be depreciating. That has huge market value, real utility. And, you know, one of the reasons for getting a fund manager for the ENS treasury is to sort of manage the money between Ethereum going down in price and having the fiat reserves to, you know, have the runway for the next couple of years. And like we, you know, like realistically, we don't know how long the bear market's going to be. The market can stay, right? What's the saying? The market can stay crazy longer than you can stay solvent. And yeah, so they need the runway, you know, however long that's going to be. And yeah, do we need to give up 80% of the treasury to centralized control? And do we need?
So
do we
what
need
is the winning vote right now? How does it stand?
Last we checked, it's down to Avant-Garde and none of the above. And the Avant-Garde was winning.
Well, I
And
missed a little
nobody
bit.
can read. Nobody can read the votes, the way the votes come in.
Right.
So the best person that we have to visualize this data is Alex, avsa.eth.
Gotcha.
Hey,
And so he has these visuals, and this is the last one from 2 hours ago that he put up.
Is there a footnote of what's plan B if it's none of the above?
I think it goes to a round 2. So basically it goes to a round 2. Like I think the votes like scale up. Like hold on a second, let me see if it's here.
hey,
like
I missed a part of the call. Gary, I know that you are like you know, you're pretty up there on the delegate side of things. Have you disclosed where you placed your you know, your responsibility yet, or like are you keeping that kind of to yourself for now?
No, it's I mean, first of all, it's all public on the blockchain, but on Tally. But and I also did a tweet thread about it as well. So
Okay,
it's
yeah, see,
totally,
I missed that.
it's totally out there. But what I did is that my first vote was for none of the above.
Okay.
And then my second vote was for the Avant-Garde because they have the ability for sort of the public view ability into what they're doing. And again, like what I was wanting is for more of that education and, you know, to be detailed about how those dashboards work and how they can be utilized to keep sunlight on the situation for people to be paying attention and to keep up to date as if it was like, you know, some football game and people keeping up with the score about where the money is and what people are doing and letting us know, you know, independently if things are going good or if things are going bad or if anything looks funky, as opposed to, you know, having nobody pay attention and not having easy access to this information and not having people understand how to access this information. These dashboards through Avant-Garde, through Enzyme exist because of Graph Protocol and Chainlink, like we talked about earlier. And so that's why the Avant-Garde, you know, looked interesting, like more interesting. But again, 80%, like some people think like we shouldn't even do that. And I just think like everything is happening very, very quickly. And not only is it happening very quickly, but 80% is a huge number, I feel. Versus right out of like what is the price of Ethereum right now? Yeah, that much.
1113.
Yeah, so 1100. I agree. I feel like this is kind of happening fast. Like I keep up with the stuff, but
Yeah, so we're talking $27 million, $28 million.
Well, we were saying it. We thought it was related to fear in the market.
I mean, we can't go back in time, but I wish they would have like discussed doing this when things were going so good. Like maybe we should have allocated a lot of it and diversified a bit to USD when Ethereum was up more. Now, I mean, I know the bottom's not in, but I kind of feel like, I don't know, is it really worth swapping, 80% or moving so much and changing our path like now? And I get it, fear or just to be on the safe side of things, but what happens if like something good happens, which I doubt it with everything going on, but like say something were to spark a bull run, are we just gonna like switch everything back to ETH? Like, oh crap, we're back in, like, change of plans.
That'd be all managed by the fund manager. And yeah, and I'm not an expert in that area, and I haven't identified who are the financial experts that are part of the Web3 or ENS DAO, who we could, who get paid to do this sort of stuff normally. And I know, right? Because if I needed a lawyer, we could think of a couple of lawyers who are part of the ENS community, ENS DAO. We could think of a couple of project managers, a couple of developers, a couple of HR professionals. I could think of, you know what I mean? I could think of all sorts of professionals. I'm not sure who the financial professionals are in the Web3 ENS DAO space.
Well, that's everybody in their own opinions.
Well, no, I'm talking about a real professional who deals with money management,
right,
and understands how this shit works in like someone's financial portfolio, potentially even for like a family office, right? Like a family office that their job is managing someone where their family has $10 million, right? They won the lottery or they sold their business, it's like they're a retiree, they whatever, you know what I mean? They're a corporate person, they're whatever, you know what I mean? They whatever. And they have 5 million, they have 10 million, they have $20 million, and that needs to go, to somebody like an investment office where they invest it and they go, yeah, we're going to get you, inflation is eating away 2% of this or 5% of this, and they're going to get them like a return, right? And traditionally speaking, that's probably been fine, for like the centralized world for people that can handle that. But like, kind of like we're talking about, a DAO is like at risk, right? It's like a huge honeypot to have that much money there, if and when, there could be a potential attack from any government, you know what I mean? Or, that can have jurisdiction over anybody that's a part of that.
I guess if I were to spitball something, I didn't keep up with how much it takes to fund it for a year. How much, and you mentioned we have like enough, roadway for, we already have enough funding for so on and so forth. But maybe just try to calculate what it's going to cost to make sure that everything is like, able to run and able to do what we need to for the next, say, 4 years. Find out how much money that is. I don't know if that is 80% or what. Maybe we move that to something stable, and then we keep the rest just like in Ethereum and kind of write it out. I feel like 80% is like pretty drastic. But I also don't know what it costs for like these time spans. And I just said 4 years because it feels healthy. 184 is laughing at me.
No, sorry, I didn't hear what you said. I'm doing some other work, so yeah, sorry.
No, you're good. I'm just messing, man.
So I have this EP14 executable funding for True Names Limited. This was from June 27. If I go down here, this is talking about in April 2021, True Names Limited initiated the creation of the ENS DAO. Yep, that happened. This is about a year later from there. In consideration of all the work thus far, calendar year, months and years, income, Article 3, ENS Constitution, TNL, Evergreen Grant, development and improvement of the ENS protocol, calendar year 2022, that's now. This request will amount to $4 million, equivalent daily stream of 11,500 USDC in Q1 of each year, coming up in a couple months. TLN, now ENS Labs, or the ENS DAO may request to alter and or terminate this Evergreen Grant system. So this is currently $4 million a year. So I don't know where I got the $10 million number from, but compensation, financial and accounting, IT, talent, dues and subscriptions, research and development, marketing, communications, travel and lodging. This is all reasonable. And well deserved.
But by compensation, that's like the team getting paid.
Yeah, people need an income.
Right. Understandable.
It's like, it's like when it's like I work in corporate, and sometimes you're sitting at a meeting and there's 10 people at the table, and back in the day, you know what I mean, a high salary used to be $100,000, and there'd be 10 people sitting at the table, and you just think, wow, there's like $1 million a year that the company is paying these people. And yeah, I don't have all the details to dive into this, the number of people, and
right.
I know. I mean, we have the best developers in all of Web3 working on ENS through ENS Labs, like literally the best developers on all of Web3.
Yeah, it's fine. They should ask for more.
They should ask for more.
If I was a dev, I'd ask for more. I always ask for more, like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah,
like you gotta test the limit. You gotta test the limit.
Are they also getting some ENS tokens, some responsibility?
Yeah, they should vest responsibility. I think over there are allocated tokens for the past and the future, basically. Some of the ones in the past have already been kind of bookmarked and are vesting, the original contributors and stuff. And then there's a pool that is marked for current and ongoing future contributors, is my understanding.
Good. That's what I would be playing for. I mean, I am ready to buy the dip. I had to do a little de-risking recently, but I am ready to buy any dip that allows me to get some more responsibility, because can you imagine being able to have more voice at the foundational naming system of the future everything? Responsibility is absolutely an alpha pickup. And I'm not a financial advisor, and that's financial advice. That's responsible financial, whatever. Just get some responsibility, people. It is worth it to actually make sure that this goes in the right direction.
While also being completely not financial advice.
So Griff Green has voted. I think his last name is Green, right? Yeah, Griff Green has voted, and he has now swung the avant-garde side back over to the Karpathy side. So
Wild
it's now
vote.
Karpathy in the lead.
How is none of the above holding up?
None of the above. It's basically, like a round. So basically, the way that I read this is that we're now in round. Excuse me. With the number of votes voted, we're now in a round 3 scenario. I think theoretically it's somehow possible for Llama to come back from the dead, but right now Llama's dead, because they're right now they don't have enough votes to have made it past round 2. And we're in a round 3 right now, and it's between none of the above and the Karpathy, and Karpathy is leading between None of the Above and Karpathy. None of the Above has almost 700,000, and Karpathy has almost 1.2 million.
Sounds like a damn boxing match with their names.
It does. It's
Yeah.
a play by. This is a pivotal moment. I'm actually going to call this like World Cup style. I'm going to say this is a moment in history right here. This is going to be, it's going to be a make it or break it moment. So I'm not going to call it one way or another, but this is a significant, whatever changes come from this or don't come as the market, crumbles or recovers. My feeling is DCA is the way for institutional and for all the money management. Like we should be just, biting off little chunks and everything. And my feeling is we were talking earlier about decisive moves. I reject decisive moves in institutional money management. We know that timing the market never works. So I think we should pick a course, DCA to that course, and stay true to it. Like that's what real long-term wealth management is about. Not like saying, "Oh, I'm going to get in and out over here." No, I mean, if something's melting down, we shouldn't have been in it in the first place.
Hey guys and girls, there was on topic, off topic. I know we touched on Tether for like 5 seconds. There was a Decrypt article a few days ago. Gary, I DM'd you that if you haven't seen it. Solana loses 1 billion in USDT to Ethereum and Tether chain swap. What could this mean for Ethereum and overall? Is it because it's Tether? It's not necessarily a thing.
This shouldn't matter. Yeah, I mean, it shouldn't matter because Tether should, without me reading this article, if Solana loses $1 billion in Tether should just be like, okay, turn it off, and then resurface it, and then just like reissue it, unless they mean, without reading this article, unless they mean that the USDT has been distributed and they literally don't know who they gave the money to, then it's like a nightmare, because then they wouldn't know who to turn off. So
stablecoin user Tether today announced 1 billion chain swap to convert USDT it had on the Solana blockchain to the Ethereum blockchain. So I'm not sure. There's a little bit more to that.
Okay, wait, hang on. So they took how much of value and they brought it off of Solana and they just ported it over, right? Is that what you're saying? Over to ETH? They wormholed it over?
Gary, I don't know if you want to put that on your screen. That way everyone could look at it.
I think it is on a screen.
Okay.
They probably didn't use wormhole. They probably just...
So, I mean, there's this tweet here from Tether in the article. It says, in a few minutes, Tether's going to coordinate with a third party to perform a chain swap converting from Solana to Ethereum ERC20 1 billion USDT. The Tether total supply will not change during this process. What's going on here? He admitted 1 minute. It's just trying to like read through this article quickly.
Hey, Gary, while you're reading it, glancing it, I just want to ask, does anyone have any ERC20 Tron still? I had some recently and I swapped it. It was only like a few, small amount. But I realized, dude, that could have had cool historical value, just sitting on some ERC20 TRX. Anyway,
I may have on my old Exodus wallet, but it's too small of an amount to trade. But interesting you say that.
Nice. Yeah, that's probably where I got my first Tron back in the day too, man.
All right, guys, I got to drop. This has been fun.
Yeah. Hey,
Very
was
good.
that you?
Yeah.
Was that you, Corey?
Yeah, Corey. See
Hey,
you guys on the feed.
Corey, dude, you're sharing your institutional experience and your startup experience here was so valuable. I just want to let you know I studied tech entrepreneurship and management at ASU, and I've spoken to many entrepreneurs through my coursework. We had all kinds of great, this is one of the most educational things I've heard of your opinion on ENS. With that, the knowledge of your background, it really adds a depth of perspective, dude. It was really cool that you came in and shared over here on Minting Coins today. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah,
You
before
can
you
ask me any questions you want anytime on in DMs. Anyway, Gary, thanks for the invite. See you guys.
Thanks, Corey.
Yeah, see you, man. Yeah, that was cool because I hopped in here and it was like a listening session. 1A4. It was just me, Novax, and Gary Palmer last night, and I couldn't shut up because If I'm not listening, I'm gonna talk. So tonight was more of a listening session for myself, and that was cool. And then
Yo,
Corey,
don't ever criticize yourself either, Gray, man. You're like, I don't know when to shut up. Like, ask Thread Girl, man. You don't talk enough. You really, it's nice, and everything you say has some bearing and some value. And like, it's not like you're just out here rambling, bro. Like, we really appreciate what you have to say.
No, I appreciate that, man. And then Corey was nice enough today. He commented on my Fergie.eth and said it's worth more than I was calling it for. He has a 3.5 bid on his name right now. He's not going to sell it because it's his name, but it's like a misspelled Corey, and it's got 3.5 on it.
What did you value Fergie at? I don't know if you even put a value on it when we talked.
I did like a little poll with just like undermining it, and the highest price was 2 ETH, and he was like more than 2 ETH. I said, my man Corey.
I feel like that's a Gwayman marketing tactic, just to like put it out there with a really unassumptively low amount and let everyone else say, no, that's 100 ETH name. Let Thread Girl get on there. It's a 100 Ether.
Oh, well, thank you, superhero.
That actually is 100 ETH though, isn't it? Like, I mean, I know that you're not going to play it that way, but what do you guys call the value at? Because it's definitely not a 2 ETH name, dude. It's Fergie. Come on.
Come on, guys. Come on.
100 ETH.
Let me evaluate this.
Oh, God.
100 ETH. 100 ETH. There is no doubt about it.
I like to do the polls and put some like crappy pricing on it, because sometimes people, I know when they're trolling me. Like the first 8 votes are like the lowest price all the time, and I'm like, I know. I have a feeling it's just some like buddies of mine kind of picking on me.
I don't know what's closer, the DAO voting or the shout outs for Gway and Thread Girl in the chats. It's kind of interesting over there.
I'll have to pull the chat up. I wasn't looking at it. I'm not leaving anyone hanging. We just been hanging out. 100 ETH Thread Girl.
Guys. We love you guys so much. Thank you for watching and like being with us.
So I value a lot of names on their future value, which is a ridiculous value, but that works for me because I'm not concerned. But I did make sure I listed everything, because to be honest, there are some grails out there. People have amazing names, and the best chance you're going to have at getting them for cheap is if the market completely tanks. I'm not talking about distressed sellers. I'm talking about, dollar price, they'll be down. ETH, they'll still be high, whatever they're listed at. But if people want to get a name that's probably not going to change hands for years, it's if the market, shits the bed. I should not swear.
Nah, I swear, man, it's provocative. It gets the people going.
I don't think shat is a swear word. I think you conjugated it as well. There was another shats. I think you had a plural shat in there.
Past tense.
There are some names that are not going to sell for small amounts, but and they'll change hand once. They'll go to like their end buyer. They're never going to let them go. And if the market drops, this is the chance. I'm not saying they're my names. I'm saying people have amazing things out there. And
guys, I got
pedometer.eth,
Thread Girl. I got pedometer.eth yesterday. I've been shilling it everywhere because I'm so excited because I got it for 0.2, which is to your point about there's grails, like really great words out there for under 0.1 even. I mean, there's great stuff.
Discount auto parts line 2, Novax.
Oh, that just sounds good. Discount autoparts.eth.
No, I mean they're on line 2, wanting to get that ENS from you.
Yeah, I got a few that will have actual utility. Pedometer is actually for measuring your footprints and your footsteps and everything. But Thread Girl had thrown her hand up for real. I've never seen Thread Girl put her actual hand up. That was cool.
Need more people on video. You can see you can get so much more with the video.
Yeah. So I want to talk about, I don't want to interrupt anyone, and I'm used to raising my hand. So I wanted to say, first of all, did I just see a comment from ENS Maxis? And is this the real ENS Maxis, or is it Gwayman's alt account? And
do they actually comment? I gotta go and look.
Yeah,
there was a like when I posted the video, they jumped in right away just to do a comment before we even went live.
no.
That's their way of getting a shout out during the video when we go over the comments at the end.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Just take a picture. Just take a picture. Can't post it. Can't tweet it right now. I'm suspended. I'm in Twitter jail for 12 hours, man. Anyways, so I wanted to,
You're not suspended on YouTube or minting coins.
yeah, not suspended with Gary. Sending you hugs.
Thread girl, it's good to see your .eth at the end of your name. So I just wanted to tell you that.
Oh my God, you guys, stop bashing me with this for real.
No, on the contrary, that was a compliment. On the contrary.
Thank you.
Okay, all right.
I'm not.
I busted her chops earlier about it already.
Oh, I missed that. I'm gonna have to hit rewind. Hey,
Yeah.
184.eth. My bad. 184.eth. I just want to the point you were making earlier about how some names, smaller names, might sell or may not, and also to my experience and just like watching like different trends and narratives from these different communities. You know, a lot of these things happen where it's like somebody builds a really tight niche community, and all of a sudden they got 500, 1,000 people, 2,000 people in there, and everybody's gonna go and get 00x, and all of a sudden like everyone pulls that, and I've seen that as well. And then there's all the people that have the FOMO that want to jump in as well, and then get that, and then there goes those names. And it's interesting how sometimes people look at that as like, well, there's no value in that. There will be no value in that, but it did sell. It did change hands, which I'm not necessarily agreeing to it, but it is a thing that has happened. I think will continue to happen as well.
0x names are definitely worth something. If I couldn't get Gary.eth, then 0x Gary.eth, I think is an excellent alternative for the culture.
I went through like a good, like when I get in my zone, I have some good Moroccan green tea that just drives me crazy. I went through at least 50 to 60 names today, and I was like, holy shit. It's like everything is taken.
So I'm thinking I'm going to talk about a sale that happened today, right? And that way, it's not shilling anyone's name. So at address_ETH has said they just sold Hussein.eth for 15 ETH, and it was purchased by Golden Bezos. So like that's a name, and address is a very intelligent investor trader. They know their stuff. They've been around. So that's a name that it may change hands, but once it's picked up, it's probably not going anywhere for a while. Golden Bezos is probably not the best example because they were flipping numbers a fair bit. But Hussein is such a common name. Is it not a first name and a last name? Like these are deals that can be made. 15 is still pretty high. I reckon you will find some that are absolute bangers that will sell less than that if the market does something. But they're not names that are changing hands often. So the 0x's and any sort of club name, I kind of say they're irrelevant to the point that I'm making. But there are names that you can get really good pickups, and they're names that you're going to hold on to for years. Club names and things like that, whatever. 4 digits, 3 digits, yeah, they're your liquidity play. You're not that attached to them. So there will be lots of turnover there. But pick up a Hussein, pick up a whatever other name, pick up a Michael, a David, Mary. These are the ones that there are opportunities that are coming up. I don't know any of them.
Pick up a Gary.eth, and then I'll trade you something for it.
Crown emoji Gary.eth is just waiting for you. It's the best one. It's the best one that's out there, Gary. The crown emoji prefix for Gary.
There it is, like, the emoji word.
It's better than Gary.eth because it's King Gary. It's I mean, come on.
Could get King Gary.eth.
Just straight KINGGARY. That'd be pretty dope. Gary, I was in Gary's wall. I wasn't going to bring this up, but the show's gone over, so we're in the official after hours session right now. This is for the members only. I was in Gary's wallet today.
It's like a free session that this is like a rated PG free session of the members.
That's where we share our names.
A free glimpse of what the members only session will be like.
Not really, because I see it's like you guys don't understand. In the members only, in the real members only section, I can go off. Right, I can literally say whatever I want,
and I plan to.
Yeah. I hold back a lot. There's a lot we can't do and say on YouTube. The members section, we're gonna have real fun. We're gonna drink. We're gonna do like whiskey Wednesdays and everything. It's gonna be crazy.
Oh yeah, okay. I like how 184 a minute ago he was like, get your digits. It's a liquidity play. We're not attached to those. As Gary and him, got the hats on, got the digits on the hat. I'm not attached to this.
Well, we could maybe in that really, in the really after the real deal after hours, we can get into some of Gary's not safe for work registrations. I discovered that Gary has one guilty registration that I'm not going to name it. I'm not going to call you out like that, Gary. But if anyone wants to have a laugh, Gary's got some funny ENS as well as some great ones.
I only have one adult name. It's not even that adult.
Is adult subjective? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's so subjective, and we'll just let you wonder. Okay, you're gonna have to find your way into Gary's wallet and snoop it out, or you're gonna have to get into the members section.
Speaking of Gary's wallet, Gary, by any chance, do you have Gramps.eth?
Yes.
It's interesting, because I was having a lunch with a friend, and he happens to own a bar with the same name. And I was telling him, blah, 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 ENS, EEE. And then right after I looked up the ENS, I was like, oh shit, it's taken. Okay, it's pretty general. And then it just happened to be like, I think a week after you had purchased it, I think for like 0.5 or something. And I was like, oh shit. Okay. So I ended up getting a Gramps bar, and I need to give it to him as soon as I see him. But any particular reason for Gramps, or is it just it was available and you got it?
No, it's my kid's name. His name is Gramps.
That's pretty dope.
That's sick.
Hey Gary, can I ask you about your wallet? I know you don't like talking about your wallet. Can I ask you about something that you did with your avatar on a few of them?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's getting some tricky territory here. But yeah.
Okay. Next, let's leave it.
Yeah, just don't mention any of the names. What's the question?
So I love what I can see is that you've got something like this name is reserved for namesake.
Oh, in my main wallet. Yeah.
Yeah. So is that you saying like this person, please reach out to me, like I got it for you?
If some of those people I've talked to, and the people that I talk to, it's to let everybody else in the world know that the name is reserved for them. And if it's somebody who I haven't talked to yet, then I'm speaking to that person, and I'm speaking to them. So I got like a couple musicians in there. Like I got a 10-year-old friend, like more than 10 years old friend, and his musician name is Beeple, coincidentally spelled differently, and it's like always been Beeple. It's been like people misspelled, and so I secured his name, and because I was like surprisingly still available, and then like Joywave, I purchased a Joy. They're like a local Rochester band that got popular, so I purchased. Yeah, there's like a couple names that I purchased. And I didn't want people to think I was squatting on their names, because I purchased them in order to give them to them. And, I wanted to, when people Googled the name, when they OpenSea the name, I don't want to do that to the OpenSea. When people like check out the PFP on the name, I want to have that photo there. So we made that image. Yeah, and slapped it on. So whenever I purchase a name, then I slap that as I hot link it on.
I think it's great because I have a few that I've done for the same reasons, and I'm always conscious that I want to reach out and let the person know, especially when they're friends. I don't ever want them to find out that I don't want them to think the wrong thing about the intentions.
Yeah, that's part of it. So slap that image on.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay.
So make like your own or use that
Yeah.
one. You know, feel free to use that one. You know, download that image and upload it somewhere else. Yeah. Yeah, because I mean that's going to be a method of communication. There's probably going to be something more elegant in the future, but right now a really easy way to communicate and give like a general, you know, it's kind of like your MySpace page or your Facebook page, like your homepage. You know, it's like your ENS name PFP. And if it's like just an empty lot of land, you know, then you want to put that realtor sign on that lot of land, you know, to say what it is, what is it all about. Yeah, so definitely go for that strategy. It's a great strategy.
No, that is a good one. Well, while we're on the avatars, I got this little thing I've been doing, and I don't know why I do it. I just think it makes it pop, and it kind of makes it more like mine. Is I'll just have a word or a digit, and I just make art for it that just says that word or that digit, because I just feel like it makes it pop. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen my 4969, but I'll tell you what, if you're on you know, any marketplace and you're scrolling looking for a digit to buy, you're gonna see my shit and it's gonna pop. Like that's why I did it. And I'll just take the same thing with like names, and I'll just, you know, like Casey, and I just write Casey, and then I kind of pop it up there with the art, make it look all just different. I just try to make it stand out some type of way.
Yo, Gray Man, I did see your 4969. It's amazing. It's amazing the things that you are doing with it. Kind of matrix kind of thing.
Yeah, Matrix with
Yeah,
the diamond digits.
yeah, it really stands out.
Yeah, it looks cool. Thank you.
Sounds dope. Hey, I have a habit of not a habit, but I enjoy looking up friends, colleagues, fellow artists who are not necessarily on chain, their names, right? And if it's available, I go ahead and get it, and then I gift it to them. And the way I gift it to them is like, you know, screenshot, send it to them through DM, whatever, and like, hey, look, this is it. Whoa, what is that? And we start the conversation. And that's how I kind of onboard them. And sometimes I do it for, uh, for people that I actually don't know, but I know of them, and I do it, and I gift it to them as well. And I've had one or two occasions, which I like some feedback, where the person's kind of a little thrown off and almost thinks it's kind of like a trap. And they're, either I don't get a response, or I get a response from somebody in their camp, and saying, oh, what do you want, or this and that. And I'm like, no, it's yours. Just give me an ETH address. I'm going to send it to you. I just felt like, you guys are in Web3, or you guys are in this, and you need to have this, and then either I don't get a response or I do get a response. So I don't know, kind of want to get some feedback from you guys on that.
Yo, in my opinion, if the people like you're giving it to someone, and they take it as a gift, okay, awesome, cool. If they get swore, I don't know, if they give you a weird vibe about it, screw them, let them pay for it later. You did your duty, you wanted to do them a solid. Now I realize there's this untrust issue in Web3, right? And people get sketchy if you tell them, I'm going to give you an airdrop, especially of things you don't know about. But you did tell them, I want to give you it's a gift, man. If they don't want it,
yeah, the people I know are super happy. The people I know are super happy about it. The people that I don't know are the ones who are like, kind of like, yo, why are you doing it? It's almost like, damn, we're in the same community, and first of all, why don't you have it? You know what I mean? And you're out there in platforms and stuff like that.
So I'll make a quick take on it. I think that what you're doing is cool, and I have done the same. I've also had a few people give me the same reaction, like, I don't want that, or like why are you trying to give me something, or like even like block me, like people I don't know. So it's just all part of the learning experience. So what I started doing is and I have a few DMs. I've done it for a few people, like big accounts. You know, I see them with like Bored Apes or just a few other things, or they're like a big name in the space. And I'll slide into their DMs and I'll let them know. I'll be like, hey, so and so .eth is still available, because I did to somebody. He had a big following. He like works for some exchange, and I messaged him because I seen how big his following was, and I said, hey, like his last name was available. I said, blah blah blah. .eth is still available. He replied. He said, oh wow, you squatted my ENS name. And I said, no, man. I said, I could have. I said, but if you go right now, you can get it for $5. And he went and checked. He said, oh, wow, it is still available. I said, yeah, that's a freebie. And he said, well, I appreciate that, because I guess somebody squatted some name of his from like it's not a naming service, but it's something to do with some Web3 naming, maybe like a plot of land or something. But he said that somebody squatted his name before. So once he received my DM and I was like, hey, this is still available. And I've never talked to the guy before. I just try to, give that awareness. And he, like, his first response was, oh, wow, you squatted my name. I said, no, I didn't. Like, go look, it's available. And he was like, oh, wow, well, thank you. I said, yes, sir. And that was it. That was the last time I talked to him.
Yeah, he was projecting from his last experience, but not giving you enough doubt, chance to say, hey, no, this is a different thing. But yeah, I appreciate that, sharing your experience like that.
Yeah, definitely.
I have an experience like that, and I don't know where it's going to land, but it was a DAO in the music space, actually, with a really cool name. And I had been asked by a friend. He was like, yo, would you like to be involved in this DAO? And I was like, dang, that sounds interesting. That sounds cool. It's a cool name. It sounds fun. I didn't know anything about it other than that. So I meant the name. And then I think like within that week, I had kind of get some more information about it. What's going on with this DAO? When do you guys meet? And he was like, oh, yeah, I don't know, like kind of gave me the meeting dates and was a little bit like disinterested all of a sudden. And then when I talked to him, he kind of was just like, yo, can you just give me the name? And kind of like didn't want me to be a part of the DAO. And I was kind of like, well, I mean, I don't know. I saw the name as being kind of special and valuable. And I didn't care about whatever DAO they had going. Like, I wasn't connected to it. You know what I mean? So I wasn't just going to hand him the name. I was kind of like, in that context, I kind of felt like, yeah, I'm just going to hold it, bro. I was like, I'm going to keep it because it's a valuable name. And, I just don't feel like if I'm not participating in co-building that DAO, then like I want to keep it for myself, and I just feel weird about it now because I'm probably not going to build on it. And I don't know if it will sell or anything. But it was probably best in their hands. But the interaction was just awkward, bro. Like, it was just weird between me and this dude. Like, and he was like, give me the name, like, and like kind of insisted that I give it to him, like, for nothing. And I was just like, yeah, no, not going to do it.
Yeah, they will do that. I think Thread Girl's trying to talk. She got rugged.
Yeah, sorry. I feel that we hold ourselves with a lot of responsibility of onboarding people and give people this, give people that. So, like we hold much more responsibility and comes with much more emotions and feeling towards the community and ENS in general. But we shouldn't like overthink it as much. Yeah, like he did you bad, so you don't need to give him the name. I gifted a last name of a person, and trust me, the last names I own, those are my grades, because owning a family name, you own the whole family once the name wrapper actually comes out, right? But I did gift a last name, and I'm squatting a lot of things at the same time. So I do this and I do that, and I'm not like I used to feel a lot of much more responsibility towards, yeah, onboarding and towards showing like that positive side to the community and whatnot. But as of lately, I feel that onboarding is gonna be Trojan horse to us, and whatever we do, like that's not gonna make so much difference unless you pull a gray man with Matt Higgins. That's a different story. But
Yeah, and that could have went either way though. That's kind of where it's like I'm not against still doing the positive thing, because it's like you never know, and especially if it's someone with a big name. Like if Fergie's team approached me, I paid 0.5. I like people would probably hate me for it, but I'd be like, let me get one. Like it's not like give me a little bit of extra for holding it for you, being reasonable, and maybe even for what I like got it for. But like I feel like it's one of those moves that's, you kind of get written in like the little history, if this goes where we think it's going. And then I got a lot of flowers from the Higgins thing from like the community, which is cool. But I almost don't like talking about it no more, like just personally, because then again, I think I told the guys the other night, it's like, man, that's like all people talk about with you, and I just try not to like beat a dead horse with it, even though it is really cool. But the back end connections and like relationships I've made from that one interaction, could potentially literally like change my life to where it's like it's been going good and I don't regret it at all. I remember people like telling me, because afterwards I was trying to make enough to get into the 10K, and I was trying to trade names on the timeline. And people were like, why didn't you just charge them for the name? And like calling me like literally I had some DMs from friends. So I was like, bro, like that was a cool move, but like you're stupid. You should have like told them to buy you a 10K or something. And I'm like, I'm not stupid. I'm like, you guys are just looking at it the wrong way. But I'm with you. I think that like you get to play it how you want out here. And then if you decide to be like the nice guy, that's good. I think that's going to say a lot like for your character. And it's like, if you don't do like the thing and just gift everything, it's not like you're a bad person. Like it's just like it's the name of the game. But you do kind of get like some free spotlight, and your name kind of gets talked up whenever you do something like that. I've got a few names that I'm like, I'd sell. I got a few names that I would gift. But it's cool. You can do it how you feel. That's the best part.
Yeah, but that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, do it how you feel, and don't like guilt trip yourself about keeping a name for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, definitely do good, but don't guilt trip yourself if you decide to keep a name. Wait 1 second. But I wanted to tell you one thing, that the value of ENS domains and of any other thing in life. It's not always materialistic. So this is, you kind of made a trade. You made a trade, but instead of getting ETH in return, you got connections. You got like great connections in the community, and that's much better than ETH, because you get one ETH for it and that's it. You spend it, but you make a connection, and you make a connection for life that can bring you much more income in the future. I'm not saying like whenever you do something good, think of it this way. No, but when you do something good, sometimes good things come out of it, and they turn out to be much better than gaining any like monetary whatever. But yeah, Goyman had his hand up. Yeah.
No, you speak of facts there. I was looking for like the 100 emoji to throw up, but I can't. So I can't throw up the 100 emoji now. I thought my audio cut out because you muted yourself. But
so if you get some sort of like OBS on your machine, open broadcast software,
I can do so.
And then you could run your camera through your OBS, and then you can also add graphics, and so then you can pop up graphics on your screen.
Oh, that's really cool. I might have to look into that. The last question I had, I am going to get ready to head out. I've been in here a little bit too late some nights. I keep missing my late nights.
Yeah, I'm trying to cut this. I'm like, oh man, I gotta get. I was telling Novak, I gotta get better, like cutting this short. I'm like, oh man, they're just like talking and there's like jamming and it sounds so good.
So my last question, and then I'm gonna tell everybody like good night, and let whoever else kind of get whatever they need to for the night. Threadgrow, you have a bunch of names. I'm not asking you to dox your name. I am kind of curious what your real name is. Not like your full name, but maybe like a first. But do you at least have your name?
Bro, man, I have the shittiest story with my name, okay? And around end of last year, okay, end of 2021, I went to register my first name, and it was registered for 2025, sitting in a dead wallet alone by itself. Uh, no bids are getting accepted, nothing at all, okay? And I'm trying to do this from a non-doxed wallet because I don't want to dox my name. And my last name is also sitting in another wallet. And by the way, both names, like the wallets only have my first name in it, and the wallet that has my last name has two other shitty NFTs in it, PFPs, okay? And as well, again, it's a fucking dead wallet registered for 2027, and I have the least common first name and last name, Gwayman. You have no idea. Like, no one has this name.
If I can guess your first name right now, will you confirm or deny it?
Oh, now on
You look like an Albert. Like I'm gonna guess Albert.
what?
I'm just joking. I just wanted
Officially doxed. Officially doxed. You heard it here on Minting Coins.
Albert
Do we
Thread.
have a flipping emoji?
Yo, the Fat Albert avatar coming up.
Nah, I'm just messing. I just wanted to get a good joke in before the night. But yeah, like I said, I'll shut up now, and then I'm gonna tell you all good night. It was nice to see you guys again. But I'll let you guys wrap it up. Somebody threw an emoji. But yeah, I'll let somebody else wrap it up, and I was just getting some jokes in here.
Wait,
Yo.
man, I'm gonna dox my name. I'm gonna dox my name right now. Okay, are you guys ready for it?
Ready.
Are you guys ready for it?
Drum
Guys,
roll.
Go.
On YouTube.
Full docs. And we want to see your government ID too on cam.
Man, I'm gonna dox my name live on Gary Palmer.
Do it.
Show.
Did she rug? No way she rugs.
It's for her own protection. Somebody DDoSed her.
Somebody's listening.
Thread Girl, I want you the first.
She gone.
If that's not a troll, then what amazing timing.
Yo, that's brilliant.
That's yes.
That's brilliant.
Applause 1-8. Yeah, exactly.
Dude, she's from the future. Forget about it.
How did she do that? She's a genius. Now she's gonna have us wondering how she pulled that off. Like
yeah, how did she do that?
Maybe there's something.
Like she's still in the stream.
Albert has skills.
What was that even in reference to? Is she wearing a Albert hat or something? Hey,
Nah,
Tech,
I just thought of like the funniest like male name to smack on her. And Albert came to my mind. I don't know. And then he said something about Fat Albert, and I'm like, geez, now people probably think I meant that. Like that's not what I was doing.
I was about to tell her I want her to have bro.threadgirl.eth as her subdomain because that's like her. When she starts with bro, I'm like, okay, sit back because there's a story coming.
She needs bro with like multiple R's. Somebody got to register for her. BRRRO.
Bro is so Miami. Oh, she's back.
The rug was real.
Bro, the rug was real. Yeah.
You cut out. You said you were gonna say something, and you cut out.
And you're hold on. You didn't just cut out. Your video stopped on a still frame of you for like several minutes. It had us wondering, like, are you just playing us? We thought you were just goofing us.
And Gwayman DM'd me as I was like, we DM'd each other at the same time. I'm telling him I didn't do it on purpose, and he was asking, "Yo, was that on purpose?" And yo, I keep getting rocked throughout the show. But okay, are you ready for my name? Richard, bro. Gwayman, that's for you.
Oh, is that code for Rachel? Wait up.
100 ETH.
100 ETH.
Yeah, I thought Dreadgirl was about to go full docs, and I thought, oh, wow, this will be a moment to remember Gary Palmer Jr., bringing everyone out on video and everything. That's pretty cool, guys. I really appreciate that. Everyone's, like, getting long form with the content, too. Like, the vision seems like it's coming to fruition of having a 2-hour space, 2-hour session of the show, and then kind of
3 hours.
Yeah, another hour for kickback. So it's kind of happening by default.
Yeah, I mean that's what's I mean that's how it's supposed to work too. The only thing is we will have to get really good at cutting the show right at like the 2 hour mark, and then we immediately spin up like the private show, and then yeah, the private show, it's just that. It's like we're basically doing the same thing, but it basically it live streams through the website. And the only way to get it is through the mintingcoins.com website. And then it's not broadcast anywhere. It's not like this video is on Facebook and YouTube and Twitch and Twitter, live streaming on Twitter, and when we're also live streaming on Rumble. But then the live stream video or the members only video, that will only stream through the website. And so yeah, that'll be a private video. We could say whatever we want. Can't get our, video can't get canceled. You could swear more.
And there'll be some clips coming. So pack some hot takes in there. You know what I'm saying? Like gear up for it. Wind up. Let's get some punches in.
Hey, I want to ask 184 a quick question. Is that a fireplace behind you?
It's what I call it's a poor man's fire. What you do is you have a fireplace and you go buy a candle from IKEA and you stick it in there and you get the same ambience.
Oh man, that's cool. I'm like, dude, this guy is like has a fireplace. I'm like, I'm in Miami. It's like been raining for 4 days. And it's gonna be 80 degrees tomorrow. I'm like, oh, that guy has a fireplace.
Go ahead, Thread.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I got drugged again, so I missed what you guys talked
Candle
about.
place.
So I missed what you guys were saying, but yeah, I think the last part of the show right now when we were talking and like just having fun, that could have been very cool on part for the private show. And when we stop the live, I'm gonna tell you one more thing. I got an awesome idea, Gary.
I gotta optimize.
No, I got an awesome idea.
Oh, awesome idea. Yeah, tell me, share. Do you want to share?
Not live.
You said once we're not live.
Oh, okay. Well, let's wrap up the show. You guys ready to wrap up? All right. So this was fun. It was like cool going into it, and just like connecting with people, talking about the real parts of business, and just needing money and cash is king. But at the same time, really caring about that decentralized aspect, caring about the decentralized nature of Web3, and especially with all the craziness with the Genesis, potential Genesis bankruptcy and FTX. But yeah, so it's more important than ever for us to talk about this, for us to have these conversations, because we're minting information in our brains and we're minting money in our pockets, and together we're minting coins.
Money, I get that money. I get that money. Yeah, I get that money. I get that money. Yeah, I get that money. You can't take it from me. Well, it can get ugly. Don't play with my money.